What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Hazeblade Invitational. We are on day 3. Can you guys believe it? Day 3! These last couple days have just flown by, and I've been having a ton of fun just watching all of the runners just go absolutely nuts with these challenges that we've had. And honestly, it's just, I'm glad that we did this, because this is something that I've worked pretty hard on over the last few weeks, and just getting to see the culmination of it all coming together, just the weeks of hard work and preparation and people qualifying over the 2-week period. It's been so exciting to see it all come to a head. And guys, we've got some awesome runs ready for you guys today. We're going to be doing the No Merchant Challenge, which is really the whole premise of this tournament. As many of you at home probably already know, in order to get into this tournament, the people that are competing over these 3 days had to submit a no merchant run as more or less proof that they could do day 3 in preparation for the entire event. So you guys are in for quite a treat today. And speaking of treats, I am drinking my all-time favorite G Fuel flavor today. That is the snow cone flavor. Thank you so much to G Fuel for sponsoring the Hazeblade Invitational. We would not be able to do everything that we've done these last 3 days if it wasn't for them. So guys, make sure you take the opportunity today to head on over to gfuel.com, get yourself something sweet, and make sure you use code Haze at checkout for up to 30% off. I know that the some people are already receiving their RE4 flavors that pre-ordered back, gosh, that would have been back in April. I have not received mine yet. As soon as I do, I'll try it out and I'll let you guys know how it is. I'm pretty excited for it. But in the meantime, I'll be drinking my snow cone as usual, and we'll be doing some gaming. But let's introduce our host for the last 2 days. We've got Sneevil back once again. Sneevil, how are you doing today?
Hello, Hayes. Hello, chat. I'm doing awesome today. I'm really excited to see the finale and just how this comes together, how the leaderboard's gonna pan out, because the thing is, everyone's very close. And that honestly makes it better as a viewer and as a host, just watching, knowing everyone's close. Anyone could pull ahead at any time. It really all comes down to this one run today that's going to determine who's our top 3 and who's going to be going home with the prize pool.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, especially with what happened yesterday, we kind of hypothesized that if you were in the lower end of the bracket yesterday, you really needed a good day to be able to turn things around, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. Unfortunately, we did have some tech issues, but we did see quite a bit of movement on the leaderboard. And exactly what we talked about is that's exactly what happened. And so we ended up getting not a full reversal of the leaderboard, but pretty darn close. So because of that, today the stakes could not have been possibly higher with just how much movement we've seen with what happened yesterday. I think bingo kind of spoke for itself. Like, we had a nice spread to kind of start out bingo, and then with everything we talked about, we're like, man, how crazy would it be if you know, Shark had a great day, and that's exactly what happened. Gosh, I'm so excited for the runs today. I can't believe we're already at day 3. It's flown by, but I think we're going to be in for some pretty awesome runs today. So talk to me a little bit, Sneevil, talk to me a little bit about what you're hoping to see out of the runs today. This might be a bit mean of me, but I'm expecting chaos. I am expecting things to go wrong, runners panicking, and that's just what No Merchant Pro is, really. It's just a lot of panic, a lot of dealing with RNG that you didn't think you'd have. Maybe you are having trouble setting up your DA0 glitch sometimes. Like, there's going to be a lot of chaos. I think runners are going to, they're going to have a time. Whether it's a good time or a bad time really is dependent on the RNG and just how they play today. So I'm really excited. Same here. And we've got our runners getting prepped right now. I think some people might be doing a little bit of practice here before we kick off in about 10 minutes or so. But guys, pretty much the summation of today, we have this No Merchant Pro option. There's no time limit for today. So as the runners are getting into their No Merchant Pro runs, there's no 3-hour limit like there was the last 2 days. It's going to just be based on everybody's time at the end of the run. And the spread on this one, as we mentioned earlier, the stakes are a lot higher. So the point values that they're getting for completing these runs, it's not like it was on bingo day where, you know, the only real big difference, you know, assuming everybody did a good job filling out their bingo cards and getting, you know, at least most of their card filled out. Most of the spread on day one really just came from the speedrun side, and getting that extra couple percentage points as a bonus. That's where most of that spread started from. And then in day two, we had a mostly reversed there with just, we had one person not finish their run, and then we had other people have a great day yesterday. And so ultimately, that spread has really closed in with the sort of the front runners slipping into the back, and then the underdogs coming back through. There's only a couple 100-point spread across the entire leaderboard right now. Speaking of which, I want to show you guys this leaderboard because this is a very different situation from what we were seeing yesterday, because again, yesterday we had some people sitting at over 600 points at the beginning of day one, and others only in the 200s, and then that just completely turned around with what happened in day two for the businessman challenge. So now we have in first planks, I'm mixing my words here, but first place we have blanks. I'm saying first blanks, yeah. 1,187 points in first place. Not too far behind though, less than 100 points between that and second place, with Joydern at 1097, Missing No at 998, really not that far behind there. And in fourth and fifth place, we have Fregelhausen and Shark. And again, it's really anybody's game here. I think if you're in the bottom part of the leaderboard, it might be a little bit tricky to try to get into that second, maybe that first place spot. But I would say really where we're at right now, anybody could still end up in the money here, at least in that third, if not second place slot. And I think really what we're going to be looking for today is to try to see as that spread when the runs start to kick off here, to see who ends up in the lead and what that's kind of going to look like. And Sneevil and I will definitely be talking a lot about what we think the end result is going to be based on that spread that we start to see within the first half.
Yeah, I do think that the beginning, like the first couple chapters of the run, may be like make or break for each runner. Because if you do have a really bad cabin and you die like once or twice in there, you're already like, 6 minutes behind everyone else. So I think there's a lot of pressure to do well in the early chapters. I think there will definitely be some deaths for everyone in the later chapters. Hopefully not. I'm hoping not. But I mean, this is new game, pro, no merchant. So there's so no merchant. If you don't realize exactly everything that encompasses, that means you can't buy a sniper at the beginning of the game for all the door skips. You can't upgrade any of your weapons. You can't sell treasures. You can't buy anything. So no upgrading weapons. They're all using the base weapons throughout the entire run. And it's a lot more difficult than just a regular professional run. So really excited to see this. You don't see no merchant very often, honestly, just because it is that hard. But really excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, me too. I think it's gonna be an interesting day, you guys. And just so you know, you guys can see it at the bottom of the screen there. We have $1,305 in the prize pool. I want you guys to go absolutely nuts in bolstering that prize pool today. Sneevil and I are not keeping any of that money. That is going directly to the winners who place in the top 3 at the end of today's competition. So again, we've got a lot of points being distributed between first and fifth place, but that spread is quite wide. So if you are at the bottom of the pack right now and you get first place, the amount of points that you're going to get could put you back in the money. So I want you guys to go absolutely nuts with the contributions today. Of course, we'll be activating across the G Fuel play of the day. My moderators are going to be on the prowl, just as they've been for the last 2 days, submitting their favorite clips of what's happening during the Hazeblade Invitational for day 3. And I'll be looking through those clips at the end of the day. And of course, just like we've done for day 1 and day 2, we'll be bringing those clips to you guys, and then you can vote on the winner of the G Fuel play of the day. And the winner will receive a care package from G Fuel so that they can try out some pretty awesome flavors too. So we're just a couple of minutes from getting started here. I think all of the runners are making their way to the main menu. We're going to be kicking things off here in just about 5 minutes, and that is my cue to quickly head backstage and just check in with everybody real quick. So I'm going to leave you guys with Sneevil here for a couple minutes. Hope you guys have a great time at the show today, and I will be with you guys every step of the way alongside Sneevil once we get things started. So Sneevil, it's all you.
All right, chat. How are we feeling about today? The first 2 days were really nuts. I'm very happy with how the first 2 days went. I'm guessing today's gonna be just as equally, if not more exciting though. So the first day, as you remember, we did bingo. Every runner had to go through the game and complete various bingo challenges in order to like get lines on their bingo card, and they'd get points based on that. And then the second day we did the businessman challenge where you collect as much money as possible. But what I'm excited about today as opposed to the other days, not saying I didn't love the other days, I loved them, but today is more of a race in a traditional sense. So on the other days, it might have been a little bit more difficult to see who's in first place, who's in second as they're running. Today, it's going to be pretty straightforward who's in first, who's in second, who's in third, who's in fourth, fifth, you know what I mean? Because it's who's farthest along in the run, that's all that matters. Today, it's all about speed. I mean, it's all about speed. Nothing else matters except for getting to the end of the run with the fastest in-game time. And that's really going to determine how our leaderboard pans out for today. So, does chat have any predictions? Who are you rooting for, chat? Honestly, BioWrecked, I'm pretty new to the no merchancy myself. I haven't seen too many runs, but one of our runners actually made a tutorial. Fregelhausen made a tutorial for professional no merchant, and I watched that, and really well explained and stuff. So if you're interested in the intricacies of the no merchant run, and maybe we don't explain everything today, go check out Fregelhausen's tutorial. It's up on YouTube. It was really, really good. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for today. It just comes down to who places first. And also it does depend, like the person who's in first, I believe is Blanks. And I feel like in order for the leaderboard to really change, you know what I mean? Blanks, people might be like hoping that Blanks doesn't do as well, so other people can go ahead, or like, I don't know, like it really depends where everyone places. It's not just where one person places, it's where everyone does, so the points shift, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. We should be starting in just about 2 to 3 minutes. And I'm really excited for the kickoff. As I mentioned before, no merchant is pretty different than the regular run. No upgrading your weapons. You can't buy health. You can't buy anything. Like, treasures are pretty much meaningless in this run. You're not going to be seeing runners pick up treasures or anything like that. There's a lot of the infinite grenade glitch that's used throughout this run, because since you are only using the base weapons, you don't have a lot of damage, so using these infinite grenades really will help you not run out of ammo through the run and stuff like that. Boss fights are also a lot different during this run because you don't have like the upgraded sniper, for example, for El Gigante, so they use like a DA0 glitch. This run is a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to everyone seeing it. I can see everyone in chat nice and hyped. I love to see it. I hope everyone's doing good today, by the way, and thanks for supporting this event over the 3 days. Of course, today is the finale, and just thanks for being here throughout all the days and making this event as hype as it's been. So thank you very much. Oh, I hope all the runners are ready today. I saw a lot of them practicing. These runners have been practicing so much behind the scenes. You don't even know. Like, I've been watching some of these runners. They get off of the competition. They stream all night. They wake up early in the morning. They stream some more. Like, they're taking this seriously. They want that prize money. And remember, you can contribute to the prize pool, make it bigger, by doing ! prize in the chat, and there's a way to contribute to the prize pool if you'd like to. So yeah, I hope all the runners are ready. Hopefully their hands aren't too sweaty, mom spaghetti, and hopefully we're ready already. That barely rhymed, but you know what, I'm gonna go with it. But yeah, good luck to all the runners today. I think they might need it, because this is a really, really hard run. We're gonna be seeing some memes today, but hopefully not too many memes, just for the sake of the runners. I mean, I'm kind of torn. As a host, it's fun seeing all the memes and all the chaos, but then for the runners' sake, I'm like, let's just have some peaceful runs, just so they're not so stressed out today, because we saw a lot of stress yesterday. There was a lot of memes yesterday, a lot of memes on the bingo as well. And I'm almost hoping for the runners to just have a bit calmer of a day today, because yesterday did not go so well for some of them, so yeah, it looks like we're going to be getting started any time now. So, a very long drum roll. No, if I do a drum roll, I could be doing it for a full minute and just make Hazeblade back there. He's like, oh my gosh, we gotta hurry. Oh, but yeah, we should be getting started any minute now. If you're curious, our 5 runners are Missing No, Joydern, Fregelhausen, Blanks, and Shark, and it looks like we are taking off right now. Let's go! All right, good luck to everyone. Let's get nice and hype. And the games begin. All right, the beginning of the first couple of minutes of this run are not too difficult. You're just running in this cabin. There's one guy to avoid. Other than that, the runners have done this so many times. I don't think there's going to be any problems here. At least you hope not.
Yeah, actually, a lot of this run is going to be... hello again, by the way.
Oh, hello.
Was just checking in with the runners and giving everybody the okay to start. But yeah, so a lot of this run in the first few chapters is actually going to be almost the same as the any % pro route. And a lot of that is just because of the fact that, you know, the game itself is pretty linear in terms of the story progression. But item-wise, you know, we actually get to bank and use a lot of that health rather than sell it. So it's still pretty important to make sure to pick up that stuff. So that way later in the run, when we're taking a lot more damage, we'll be able to benefit from having the extra health. We also don't get the body armor either. So that's another instance where having the extra health is pretty useful.
Yeah, I think the game primarily changes around Chapter 4, where you have to use the DA0 glitch for a Gigante. But other than that, I think the first 3 chapters are about the same as the run where you can use the Merchant. But yeah, it's going to get real spicy after Chapter 4. It might even get real spicy before Chapter 4, because even the regular just professional run is really hard on the first 3 chapters. There's a lot of places you can just die. And I know these runners are probably a little bit nervous going into like some of the really dangerous rooms. So I'm hoping it goes well for all of the runners, but I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of memes today.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be very surprised if we see anybody get like a perfectly clean run today, just given that A, it's RE4, so
yeah.
There's already enough toxicity there. But B, you know, you take the Merchant out of the equation. We don't really have any OP stuff aside from the ammo swap glitch, so... You know, we'll see what happens here ultimately, but you know what's interesting though is that, you know, a lot of the bingo cards that we had on day 1, they had the kill the Dr. Salvador on it, and as we mentioned back in day 1, well, I guess you mentioned it because I was busy frantically scrambling through all the bingo cards, but you know, the bingo cards are all just slightly different from each other, so there was a tiny chance that somebody didn't have the Salvador on their bingo card, but for the most part, these last 2 days, we've been seeing everyone killing the Salvador here because it's either worth, you know, the money that was required for yesterday, or it was on their bingo card. So this is actually going to be the first day where we don't see anybody going for a Salvador kill, interestingly enough.
Yeah, we're seeing the normal village, and honestly, the village, like, this run is so tough. Like, look how it starts off. This is the very beginning of the run, and you're already dealing with all these random zombies that probably aren't doing what you want. I'll explain a little bit how this section works. So ideally, before you go into the shotgun cabin like Missing No just did, you want to kill, I think it's 6 enemies, and that's going to spawn the second wave of enemies. So you need to kill a total of 15 enemies in order for the bell to ring. So this is normally done by throwing grenades while they're grouped up. So we're going to see Missing No throw a grenade into this pile of zombies over there. And he's going to shotgun this zombie in order to achieve 15 kills. Once he hits 15, the bell will ring, and that's what all the runners are trying to achieve right now, is those 15 kills and as fast as they can.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we already have our first reset. Not so much reset, but unfortunately, Joydern was not able to get set up. I don't know if he died or if he just didn't get enough kills and he was just like, you know what, I'm going to try again. But yeah, he did make a safety save before entering this part of the village. So
smart.
Shouldn't be a ton of time lost here. And it's definitely way too early in the run to know for sure if that's going to affect things long term. But yeah, this is exactly what we're getting into here, folks. Is it's going to be next 3 hours or so are absolutely going to be crucial for these runners if they want to stand a chance of making it into the money. And
yeah, it looks like these 4 runners on the screen currently all went through the village very clean. And pretty much tied right now. I mean, I feel like the beginning's going to be closer. They might spread out a little bit more as the run goes on. But right now, yeah, really tight race. Really good job by these 4. Unfortunately for Joydern, hopefully they'll be able to get a very fast village recovery and catch up soon.
Yeah, and everybody making their way towards the ending portion of Chapter 1. There is an out of bounds coming up that you're going to see most of these runners do. I'm going to zoom back in on Joydern here to see how he's doing on that village section. Looks like he is slowly but surely getting there, and unfortunately that is coming with a little bit of time loss, but it doesn't seem to be anything overly overly unmanageable here. So hopefully, it looks like he did get the bell. I see him shooting the boards over there. So all looking good there. And meanwhile, all of our other runners are wrapping up the second portion of Chapter 1 here. And we're going to see that out of bounds coming as soon as they push that cart out of the way and make their way down the hill. And that out of bounds actually saves about 12 seconds if you're optimal doing it. Whereas,
wow. I didn't think it was that much time.
What's funny, because it seems like it's a different number. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that if you mess it up and then have to go the normal way, it's way more than 12 seconds. Right. So it doesn't seem like 12 seconds unless you actually take a clip of flat out not doing it and going for the optimal line to finish the chapter inbounds, or the optimal line out of bounds and compare them together. This is where you get the 12 seconds. But it's actually a lot more than that. If you mess it up, it's closer to like 17 or 18 seconds, I believe.
Joydarn's doing good catching up. Honestly, just because he took like a minute time loss at the beginning means absolutely nothing right now. I'm sure every other runner is going to take at least a minute of time loss later in the run. I hope Joydarn has a good Chapter 2, because if he does get screwed in Chapter 2, that could mean that's just not good. Especially the Red Mist Alley. I have a prediction that at least one runner is going to get red misted, but we don't know who it is yet. I got a feeling, though, for some reason. I'm hoping not, but I mean, it's Red Mist Valley. They call it that for a reason.
They sure do. And you guys can contribute to the red bar down below by hitting up the ! prize command. Guys, all of this money that is at the bottom of your screen here is going directly to the winners of the tournament. Sneevil and I aren't keeping any of that, so the top winner at first place is going to get 50% of that money. Second place is going to get 30%. Third place will get 20%. So if you guys want to see these runners get more cash in their pockets, make sure you guys click the link in the chat and make a contribution today. These contributions will be open all the way until the end of the stream today. So please, if you haven't had a chance to do so, check out the Matcherino page there and please consider making a contribution. And I'm sure the runners would greatly, greatly appreciate that.
All right, we have 3 runners going into Chapter 2. The beginning of Chapter 2 is pretty easy. You lose all your weapons. There's one dude that you have to knife. Not too hard. All the runners have done these so many times, especially at the beginning of the run. That's normally what the runners are a little bit more familiar with, because every time you reset, you always do this part. You just run past this guy. Luckily, you don't have to worry in this run about grabbing any treasures. So that's easy to do. This guy, I think he's just gonna knife him in the face. He does drop a green herb every time, which is good. I mean, I feel like the runners are going to be trying to pick up as much health as possible just to make sure they don't die. Even if they lose a little bit of time grabbing some health, I think it'll be worth it just to avoid that one extra death and going all the way back.
For sure. And one thing that you'll see a lot of runners do here for no merchant is they're really going to try not to use the first aid sprays in the village, because later in the run, there's a strategy in the castle where you actually, because again, not having body armor and whatnot, you can kind of brute force your way through the Novistador section. And having those first aid sprays in the bank, since you have the limited inventory space through not being able to upgrade the attaché case, the first aid sprays, though, being able to go into the typewriter storage, you really don't want to use those in the village. Otherwise, you're not going to have them for Novies later when we've already got the CQBR and our inventory. Like, we really don't have room to be carrying all of that stuff into Castle. So you'll definitely see a lot of runners taking advantage of that once we get into the thick of it as we approach the castle.
Yeah, that puts a bit of pressure on the runners to really not use their first aid sprays, because they know if they do, it's going to screw them up later. But we do have our contestants going into the Red Mist Valley, so let's wish some luck to these contestants, because they're going to need it.
Yeah,
we have Shark picking up the grenade and going up, hopefully won't get hit by any flying dynamite. Seems to be good there.
Yeah, pretty decent start here for all of the runners, and we've seen over the last 2 days, we've seen some incredible plays come out of this part of the game. And in fact, on day 1, in case you guys missed it, our G Fuel plays of the day both came out of this section because of how volatile it is and just the potential for runs to just end via a stick of dynamite. And Shark was actually our winner of the G Fuel play of the day on the section he's coming up to right now with that red barrel that's on the right hand side. He popped a 180 while there was a dynamite mid-air, and when he shot that barrel, it triggered a chain reaction, which not only blew up the barrel and the dynamite, but also killed everything behind him, and he was able to get through there with what would otherwise have been him dying to that stick of dynamite landing at his feet. So that was an incredible play there. And Shark, this time around, not facing really any opposition there. Getting through there really cleanly is exactly what you want to see every time you come into this section. Otherwise, it's going to be right back to the bingo section.
Yeah, that was a great room for Shark. Blanks was having a little bit of trouble, had to heal twice, unfortunately. Hopefully that won't affect his health later. I think he only used herbs, so that's fine. But yeah, Blanks got hit twice in the same spot. I was really, I'm glad he was able to get out of there. The zombie's still coming after him. He seems a little stressed, but I think getting out of that room safe and not dying is all he wanted. So happy for all the runners that they were able to get out of there and no one got red misted.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's having a pretty decent time. We still have Joydern in the thick of it at the moment, but so far so good. That first dynamite guy was not an issue for him this time around. So this is kind of the next toxic part up here, what we were just talking about earlier with the red barrel up here. Sometimes the stick of dynamite guy can troll a little bit, and so we see Joydern going for the play there, but no opposition this time around. The dynamite guy was kind of chill, so really no issues there. That was a pretty clean section. We do have a couple of enemies that are going to wait for him at the bottom, but as long as there's no crazy maneuvers here, he should be able to get through. He's going to get the grab. Not a big deal. Sometimes you can actually push that guy off and he'll just fall down the cliff. It's so funny. So funny when it happens. But yeah, ultimately not too bad here. Sometimes you do run into a couple enemies on the way out, but nothing that Joydern is not prepared to handle here. And ultimately getting through that without too many issues. That was honestly a really clean section given given how toxic that can be. That was a really great section for everybody. Yeah,
really happy that no one got really bad luck. Good, my premonition was wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong in this case. And we're pretty much done chapter 2 at this point. A lot of the runners about to put that puzzle in the door, and then after that we'll be moving on to chapter 3, where we have another room that's almost just as dangerous as this one, and we also have the Del Lago boss fight. And I'm kind of interested to see the Del Lago boss fight, because I remember, I think it was day 2, someone did miss the 1 cycle and had to go into the 2 or 3 cycle. And I'm just hoping everyone gets it on the first try, because DA0 is not allowed for Del Lago for today. So you do need to get those 15 hits with the harpoon in the first phase, or else you are risking losing minutes of time.
Yeah, and that was actually kind of by design too, because a lot of runners do feel pretty frustrated with the whole DA0 thing. Unfortunately for Gigante and Sadler, there is a pretty consistent setup for it, whereas the setup for the initial setup, I should say, for DA0 Del Lago is consistent, but it's getting through all of those enemies without getting hit. That's the really toxic part. And it's
that
just
would have made it really toxic today.
Yeah, and I think just with how volatile the run already is, I think honestly the feedback that I got was that a lot of runners actually did appreciate the fact that that was banned for the tournament, just to make things at least a little bit more consistent in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, because if you don't set up the DA0 properly and you get hit in the beginning, like, you just can't do it, and then you'll be behind everyone else, and it's a lot of pressure on the early game, and it just makes it a lot easier for everyone just not having it for Del Lago. So I definitely think that was a great decision.
Yep, and speaking of Del Lago, we have pretty much everybody into Chapter 3 at this point. So Joydern seeming to be on the mend here for making up some of that time, getting through that Chapter 2 very cleanly, no issues really on anybody's part. But Joydern really, what we've seen out of Joydern these last 3 days has just been a lot of sort of getting back into things after that late arrival on day 1, and just really getting that hustle and really catching up with something that we really didn't expect to happen.
Yeah, we know Joydern can do a come-from-behind victory just based on day 1. Came into it, if you're missing the context, Joydern came in day 1 like 25 minutes late. I think they accidentally slept in. I mean, that can happen to anyone. You sleep through your alarm. You can't really do anything about that. But he came in, he ran really fast, and he was able to finish the run in about 2.5 hours when everyone else had 3 hours, and still got quite a few points during that first round. So Joydern really is capable of a lot, and definitely capable of a come-from-behind victory.
Absolutely, and you know, again, we continue to see it here that you know, the overall level of play coming from him on these last couple days, just starting late, still being able to make up the time, and now just on more or less a clean slate after picking up the mantle for second place at the end of yesterday's event, is now getting to a point where you know, we do have the potential to see Joydern actually come back with an insane no merchant run today and potentially win this thing.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy to see. But honestly, anyone can win at this point. Maybe not get first place, but definitely get within that prize pool. So I know all these runners are feeling a lot of pressure to either maintain where they are or to bump themselves up.
And unfortunately, we have Shark facing some opposition here at the dogs section. Unfortunately, some very bad boys in that room.
Normally I think they'll be stunned if you shoot them once with a handgun, but sometimes they just are in a bad mood, I guess. They're not friendly dogs, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. There is a friendly dog that, unfortunately, we don't save in the speedrun.
Yeah. At least you got to see that on day one, chat, because unfortunately, we can't really save the dog in this. If you're curious as to why, it's because when the dog jumps into the El Gigante fight, it actually heals El Gigante if you've done enough damage to him. So since the speedrunners deal damage to him really fast, the dog will jump in and actually regenerate his health and make the run longer. So that's the reason we can't save the dog, unfortunately. It's really sad, but I mean, it's what you gotta do for speed, I guess.
I had to, when I was coming up with the ideas for this tournament, we had to involve saving the dog somehow. So
Yes.
For those of you watching on Bingo Day, you're welcome. Had to make sure that we...
I'm looking forward to, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm looking forward to this room right here. Seeing if anyone gets stuck at the door after grabbing the gas can. This room can be a little bit tricky sometimes. I think it's normally fine, but sometimes they can congregate outside of the door and then you get whacked with the hammer if you're not ready. So let's see how everyone deals with this section.
Yeah, and I think generally, so it's pretty normal for the torch guy to show up there, and since we're not setting up DA0 this time, you can take a much more optimal line too, which the faster you get that gas can and get out of that shack, the better it is overall. Sometimes the torch guy will be there, and in fact, I would say the overwhelming majority of the time, the torch guy will be there. But generally speaking, not too many issues here. You can sometimes run into issues by looting the room that Blanks is in right now, but he doesn't seem to be having too much trouble just roundhouse kicking his way through the enemies there. Great dodge there. Honestly, that was really clean by Blanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing about Professional that I absolutely hate is that on the other difficulties, normally when you shoot a Ganado in the head, like, you get the prompt to kick them in the face pretty early on. But on Professional, like, you can shoot them in the head 10 times, you still don't get the prompt, so they really can't depend on, like, kicking enemies. But when they can, it can be quite useful. Alright, we have Del Lago coming up. We have Shark starting off. Everyone's very, very close right now. It's making it really exciting. I love it.
Yeah.
I love how no one's fallen too far behind yet.
Yeah, this is great, and we have Joydern actually about to loot the gas can. You guys can't see it, but I have it up on my second screen here. I wanna showcase these Del Lago fights, and then we'll show you guys Joydern. But yeah, very close spread at the moment. With we have two on Del Lago at the moment. We're gonna want to see if we get one cycles across the board. Missing also starting out the fight on the right note here. Fraggle having some issues with Del Lago these last couple of days, so we're just gonna have to see if Fraggle is maybe if that practice is potentially paying off here to where Fraggle can be able to get back in the money here after unfortunately falling out with the concession that we saw yesterday in day 2. So looks like so far Blanks and Shark off to a decent start on these fights. Shark continuing to throw the spears.
Okay, there we go.
Seeming confident. There's the kill. Very nice. We're going to see if Blanks is able to follow suit. And time will tell here very shortly. Missing also coming around the corner on that. Blanks with a very, very clean kill there. We honestly are seeing a lot of really solid gameplay here out of everyone today with, you know, some of the most volatile parts of the run here just in these first couple of chapters. Not really encountering too much opposition there except for that chapter 1 mishap by Joydern.
Yeah, really clean run so far. I'm really hoping Fregel's going to be able to pull out this Del Lago, because if not, it's going to mean a lot of time lost. Yes, good job, Fregel.
Fantastic.
All
there
of
by
these runners
Fregel.
getting through Del Lago really quickly. We have Joydern starting off. Hopefully is able to do the same thing.
Yeah, and
then we have everyone going into Chapter 4, which is where everything starts to change.
Indeed it does. And I'm sure all of our runners in Chapter 4 are already thinking about this DA0 setup, which after you start looting some of the things like the flash grenade and the first head, you start to get a decent idea of what your DA score is going to look like. So once they come up into that cave where the flash grenade and the torch guy are, that's where you're going to start doing the math to figure out whether you need to gain or drop points. So, of course, that's already going to be on the minds of everyone at this point. And meanwhile, we have Joydern wrapping up this Del Lago fight just a few harpoon throws away, a few seconds away here from being able to potentially close a little bit of that gap back on the rest of the pack. And there it is. There is the Del Lago kill across the board. All 5 runners getting the 1 cycle on Del Lago without that 7-hit setup, which again, as we mentioned earlier, is not allowed for the tournament. So that's definitely a sign that we're dealing with some very well-rehearsed runners here. And I think we're going to see continue to see more of that as we get into the midsection of the run here.
Yes. One question for you, Hayes. Why do they pick up the big bass?
The lunker bass. Great question. So again, as we've mentioned a few times, that banking the heals is pretty important. The lunker bass is a full heal plus max health increase. So it is effectively...
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yep. So it's effectively the same thing as having a green, red, and yellow mixture. But since we can't sell anything, after setting up DA0, that's the best way that we have of getting back to full health without having to use any of our other heals. And since that one takes up a ton of space and it's already on the optimal line, it only takes 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds to pick it up. It's just a really safe way to make sure that you have full HP during this part of the run.
Yeah, because I was curious, because I know in the other runs they'll normally give it to the merchant for some spinels, but I was like, they can't give it to the merchant. What will they do? But yeah, news to me where it acts like a yellow herb as well. That's pretty cool. Good to know.
So we have blanks here setting up DA0, and again, this kind of
quite a critical moment right now.
Oh, for sure. This is kind of going to define where the initial spread may actually start to show up in these runs. And some of that is going to have to do with how much math is involved and how long people are pausing, which doesn't count against them in terms of the timer. But what it does do is it's going to kind of put us in a spot where we may see if somebody does get really bad luck and they have to spend a little bit more time doing the math to figure out whether they need to gain or drop a certain amount of points to set up DA0. We could start to see a bit of a spread, but hopefully everybody, we're always hoping that people get, good luck and they don't have to spend too much time in the menus. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I've seen people bust out calculators for this part, and you might think I'm joking, but I'm not. There's a lot of math involved, and it's almost too complicated to just explain. But what they're trying to do is there's different values for the difficulty adjustment. There's item points and there's action points. And they need to get those item points and action points to do a couple of things. First of all, they need a decimal to be in the action points section. And what that does is it actually... How do I even explain this? Hayes, do you want to take over?
Sure. So it is a very complicated explanation. Yeah. So in layman's terms, every 1,000 point increment that ends in 999. So that's 1,999, 2,999, 3,000, so on and so forth. With a decimal place with a non-zero value in the tenths, hundredths, or thousandths place, breaks the DA.
Getting this, chat?
So if you have 1,999.4 or 0.7 or 0.07 or 0.007, as long as it's a non-zero value in the decimal place and it ends in 999, any interval of 1,000 works for it. What happens is that it gives you DA0, which is easier than assisted difficulty in terms of like how much damage you deal to stuff. And so why we're taking damage here is to get those decimal values, because inherently you don't get decimal values unless you take like a really quirky amount of damage. That usually happens when you get hit by fire, or if you are going from caution into danger where you get stuck at 1 HP because it doesn't want to kill you. It wants to give you one more chance in case you get hit. Those things are typically what gives you the decimal places. So we take that damage and then we actually do a very meticulous amount of like shooting ammo out of your weapon and discarding health and all that jazz to get DA0. And what I'll try to do here is see if we can maybe zoom in on a runner here. I think Shark is actually setting up DA0 right now, so we might actually get to see a little bit of what that looks like. So right now he's approaching the fight, and effectively what you want to do is you want to make it so that as you're dropping these points, and I know his name is kind of in the way here, I might be able to just hide that briefly just to see. So as you can see, his rank right now is 0 in the lower left. And if you look at that AP and IP value on the lower left as well, you'll see that when you add that up, what you get is 5,999.3. And that's why we're getting DA0. So again, it ends with that 999 with a decimal. And so now you can see Gigante's animations are just absurdly slow. And as a result, we're able to do this kill actually just with the knife. So kind of bringing back the RE2 remake action a little bit here.
Yeah, and remember, this is professional, so you're not normally supposed to kill him this easily with a knife. Also, I think the DA0 makes the knife durability go down slower as well, so it shouldn't break during this fight. And also, I want to mention, 7RayD, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in, everyone. You are watching the Hazeblade Invitational powered by G Fuel. And there are 5 talented runners. This is day 3 of the event, and they're all running no merchant professional in order to get in that top 3 for the prize pool. So feel free to stick around and watch this competition go down.
Yep, so you can see here that Joydern is also setting up DA0 here. We watched him fire a few rounds out of his handgun just a moment ago. And the reason you're doing that is so that you can, again, lower that value to manipulate that AP and IP value that we were talking about earlier into that 999 interval. So that's what Joydern is doing here. I'm going to pan back over to 4 runners so that way we can see some movement on the screen. But hopefully that gives you all an idea of how to set it up. Looks like Fraggle and Blanks. We have all of the runners actually setting this up at the moment. Again, really tight spread here. And Joydern actually catching up seemingly with the competition here and saving some of that time. You can see Fraggle at just about 24.5 minutes on his way to Gigante going up the stairs. And Joydern is also right at that 24, almost 25 minute mark. So we do see that Joydern has actually made up for some of that lost time and is actually starting to take the lead back again.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all, though. Joydern's able to do it. Honestly, if any of these runners fall behind, they're able to catch back up. Like, they're all super talented. We have a world record holder. We have people who have been running no merchant for a long time. It's going to be fierce competition today, and I think even if someone falls behind a few minutes, like, there's so many opportunities for them to catch back up. So it's really anyone's game until we get to the very last chapters. We might see a bit more of a spread later into the game, but right now, it's really anyone's game.
Yep, we see Joydern going into the Gigante fight now, so we've got a knife kill happening there. Meanwhile, we have Missing and Shark heading into the church. Wow, that was a close call there by that dog. Fortunately, Missing had some iframes there. And Fraggle also getting into that Gigante fight. So we've got a really close race here, you guys. This has really been close all the way through. And you can definitely tell here that these runners are all about trying to get into the money today. There is not a single runner in this roster that is not in it to win it today. You can just tell by the levels of gameplay that we're seeing, the focus coming out of all of these runners.
Yeah, I'm really impressed, and I'm honestly the next part. So we have some of the runners coming up on chapter 5, and chapter 5 is another very critical point, which is the cabin. Now, the cabin is a little bit annoying, especially for speedrunners, especially if you're doing a race, because there's no way to save in the middle of the cabin. You either do the entire cabin, or you die halfway and have to start it all over. So I think there's a opportunity for runners to lose quite a few minutes in this cabin.
I want to zoom in here real quick
yep.
on missing really fast, because this skip is actually really cool. And initially, we had thought that you needed the sniper rifle in order to execute this skip, but through no merchant routing and some of the other categories, it was actually discovered that you can do this skip without the rifle, this is actually one of the most defining no merchant skips right here, because otherwise you have to go through this section with Ashley, and it's incredibly toxic. So by being able to do this skip, this makes the run so much less stressful on the no merchant side. And you know, it's awesome that we're able to do some of these skips even without the scope clip.
Yeah, I was really surprised because I remember watching this and I've only ever seen it done with the sniper. So the sniper is normally used for most of the out of bounds, but unluckily for these runners, we're doing no merchant, so they're not able to buy the rifle to do a lot of the door skips or a lot of the out of bounds. But in that case, you're able to duck and then interact with the ladder to go out of bounds. But I'm really surprised that's able to be done there, because I really thought it was only able to be done with the sniper.
For sure. And it is time, by the way, for our G Fuel intermission here. So, Sneevel, we're going to send you off on a break real quick, and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how you guys can try out some really awesome products over at gfuel.com. Exclamation point G Fuel in the chat, by the way, everybody. Hello. I am drinking, as I mentioned to you all at the beginning of the stream, I am drinking the snow cone flavor, which is my all-time favorite flavor, and you can head on over to G Fuel and pick up one of those tubs for yourself and use code HAZE to get up to 30% on snow cone, as well as a ton of other flavors. And I did, by the way, I actually did go bring the ones that I had upstairs to show you guys some new flavors today. So let's just kind of get right into it. I was talking a little bit the other day about the margarita flavor, so I actually have it right here, and it is the most on point of all of the G Fuel flavors. So like, you have every flavor with a very distinctive, you know, like, this is what G Fuel wants the flavor to taste like, right? This has got to be the most on point one. Like, you get the lime notes, and like, honestly, like, I could probably, and I don't know if G Fuel would want me to do this, but I could probably add tequila to this, and it would be an insanely delicious margarita. And you know, even margarita mixes and stuff that I've tried are very comparable to just mixing it up with some G Fuel. Plus, you get the energy side of it too. But these ones, again, this is actually a pretty new flavor, so you can check this one out. I don't know exactly what the discount is with the coupon code. I haven't plugged it in yet to know the exact values, because every tub is a little bit different. You can range anywhere from a 10 to a 30% discount pretty much across the board on a lot of their stuff on the site using that coupon code. But again, guys, please make sure you guys head on over and check out gfuel.com. Use code HAZE for that discount. And again, G Fuel, thank you guys so much for just everything that you guys have done to contribute and make this a reality. To be able to do this tournament has been an absolute blast. Two more flavors to show you guys real quick before we run some Twitch ads for a few seconds. We have the Yuzu Slash flavor. This one flavor, this is my fiance's favorite flavor. And yuzu is a Japanese fruit, I believe, and this one is inspired by the big man PewDiePie. So if you guys like PewDiePie, or you like citrus flavors, check out the Yuzu Slash. This one is the hydration line, so there's no caffeine in it, but no caffeine. For the people that prefer the caffeine free, definitely a great option there. And this also has 0 calories as well, which most of the G Fuel line is either 0 calories, or usually it's only like 15 calories, something pretty nominal. So that way you're not packing on the pounds, while you're also, you know, able to maintain your focus and your edge whenever you're gaming. So third flavor to show you guys today is the grape lemonade. This is another favorite, and my mom actually really likes this flavor. And again, this one's also 0 sugar, 0 calories, and 0 caffeine. So if you're looking for a really awesome grape lemonade flavor without any caffeine in it, check out the grape lemonade flavor, and check them all out if you want to. And make sure you pick up a shaker as well. That way you guys are repping that G Fuel merch along the way. This is the shaker I've been using for the last 3 days, which changes colors depending on what G Fuel you put it in there. So in this case, it is extra blue, since the snow cone has a bluish hue to it. But guys, we are coming up on the cabin section here. So I'm going to leave you guys to watch some cabin gameplay here, and we're going to break with some Twitch ads here for about 90 seconds, and then we will be right back. So stay in your seats, don't go anywhere, and we're going to check out some more runs. See you soon. Welcome back, everybody. You're watching the Hazeblade Invitational, powered by G Fuel. I'm Hazeblade, and I am joined once again by our host, Sneevil. Sneevil, what is the what's the observations here? What are we feeling
Oh my goodness,
on this
chaos. Well, I just saw Shark was at the end of the cabin and got destroyed by the brute, so had to start all of the way over, and Shark was in the lead. Isn't too far behind still. We do still have like blanks just starting the cabin, so not too far out of the pack, but still a big loss near the beginning of the lead. Everyone trying to get the torch guy to hit them. That's in order to activate the infinite grenades glitch, which they'll be using to just do the rest of the cabin. Obviously, since they're not able to upgrade any of their weapons or buy any additional weapons, they don't really have enough ammo and stuff like that to do the cabin in the traditional sense. So what they do is wait for the torch guy to hit them so they're able to use infinite grenades and just pretty much blow everyone up.
Yeah, and this strategy is pretty dangerous too, because it is incredibly easy.
Yeah, it looks like Shark had to start over again, unfortunately, as well, which is pretty brutal.
Yeah, unfortunately, this strat is just incredibly easy to fall apart. I didn't mean to say easy in the sense that it was easy earlier, but yeah, so it's very easy for this to fall apart because the cabin itself, of course, is quite small. So when you're dealing with this, ultimately what you're hoping happens is that you can control the flow of Ganados coming into the cabin, but even just slightly...
Oh my goodness,
yeah, that is an unfortunate death there by Joydern. But unfortunately, yeah, it's very easy to accidentally throw a grenade too close, which then, because of that stagger that you experience by throwing it too close, it'll break you out of the ammo swap glitch. So cabin is definitely a big reset point here for No Merchant, but we do have some runners managing to get through. Missing No pulling ahead of the pack here with a really clean cabin, actually. Something that we were expecting to see out of most of the runners here, but unfortunately... we are seeing some difficulties here pretty much across the board. Fraggle actually with a pretty commanding lead now as well. So we have Missing and Fraggle both really ahead of the pack here, while Shark and Joydern are just kind of struggling to stay afloat here in the thick of the cabin.
Yeah, the cabin's definitely a difficult section. With, as you mentioned, it's just a small space. So even if there's only one Ganado in there as you're trying to fight the brute, if he's right behind you, it'll mess everything up. So there's a lot of RNG involved in here too, just where the enemy placements are and how close they are to you. But yeah, it looks like some of the runners are unfortunately experiencing some really bad luck today.
We're going to get to see Missing here coming up on the Chainsaw Sisters, which a really great setup here. Got them both into that corner pocket. It's almost like shooting pool here, except instead of a cue ball, we're using grenades. But so just stacking up damage there and really hoping that this guy doesn't get the drop on him. He's able to get the double kill. Perfect setup there by Missing. That's exactly what you're looking for. And ultimately getting through. And now we're just hoping that when he gets the crank, he's able to get out of there without these Ganados catching up to him and ultimately dealing more damage than he's prepared to manage at the moment. So he is going to go ahead and set up, looks like this is a safety strat here. He's going to set up this glitch probably with flash grenades would be my guess, so that way he can actually throw infinite flash grenades and get out of here without too many issues, which is honestly, I gotta say, a really good decision here for sure. But unfortunately, there's the guy right there. This guy is incredibly cringe, unfortunately, just when he drops down the ledge. And we call him Pitchfork Peter because really any of the guys with the pitchforks just are unbelievably cringe. And, you know, unfortunately, it's just what you got to deal with in this situation. So, but it looks like he's able to get through. As long as this guy doesn't punch, he should be good, and he should be able to get through without any more trouble.
All right, and it looks like Shark has done the cabin finally. I was a little bit worried, but honestly, they know what they're doing. Even if they die a couple of times, they'll be able to pick it back up. And honestly, isn't too far behind everyone else. So that's good. Joydern finishing up the cabin as well. Hopefully is able to get a kill on this brute. Looks like has it in a good position. No Ganados around him, and I think he's good. So it looks like everyone's out of the cabin, I believe. And heading into chapter 6.
Yeah, and I think, you know, just looking at where the standings are going to be, we can kind of just get a feel for kind of who's ahead right now. Because as we mentioned earlier, the menuing and such where you're pausing and trying to figure out DA0 and just re-strategizing, combined with the fact that we've had a couple of rough cabins by 3 of our runners, we are going to start to see that spread now. And we can definitely tell that Fraggle and Missing are both having incredibly smooth runs here, but Missing just pulling way ahead of the pack at this point now, while Fraggle is still trying to work out the details. I think, unfortunately, Ashley got grabbed.
Yes.
So he's trying to save scum his way out of it, which isn't a ton of time lost, but it is making things take a little bit longer RTA as he's working out how to get Ashley out of this situation. And she's kind of inching ever forward as he's loading these saves and just kind of scumming his way through. But and I don't say scum as a disrespect to Fraggle, by the way. That's just what we refer to that technique of saving and then loading back to advanced things. It's called save scumming. So no, that's no hate or shade on Fraggle there. That's just the terminology that we use.
Yeah, so when you reload the game, I'm guessing Ashley is automatically let go, but then still has a chance once she's reloaded to get grabbed again. So you just keep reloading, I guess, until you get an opportunity where Ashley can run away without getting grabbed. It's a good way to recover just a situation where Ashley's grabbed and she's going to just be trapped and then your game's over. So you just keep reloading and hope that Ashley gets out of that grab sooner than later. But sometimes it does take you reloading multiple times and it can take a while.
Yeah, we see the kill coming up here on Mendez for missing. We talked a little bit about this strat yesterday, but in case you all missed it, again, we're using the infinite nade glitch to effectively stun lock him to death. So we're getting a boss kill, so I know it seems super hype that we're killing a boss, but to oversimplify the strategy, effectively we're just stun locking him really with that glitch, and so you're just kind of seeing about 30 seconds or so of just throwing grenades until he dies. We do that for both phases, and both of them result in a stun lock. So we do have missing our first runner coming up on the end of Chapter 6, and it's going to be a sub 39, which is really a quite impressive time going into the castle here. A very smooth run for missing, though, with the 38-48. Very impressive.
Unfortunately, it looks like Fraggle took a death with the chainsaw, ladies. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but that's going to set him back a little bit. This section doesn't take too long, so he's not too far behind, but still, you don't want to be taking deaths in the early game if you can avoid it. Obviously, he still has an opportunity to catch up. Like, no one's out of the game yet by any means, but it is unfortunate to be taking deaths in the first village section. It's to be expected, though. Like, this section's so difficult.
Indeed, and once we get into the castle, the troubles don't let up, unfortunately, because we are also going to start seeing things very early on in the castle, like the catapult section, which we have missing coming up to right now, and then of course we have water hall, among a lot of other things. We'll probably have a pretty chill Chapter 8, I think, but really once we start getting into Chapter 9 between the maze and then Chapter 10 we have Novistadors, we have the double Garrador, we have Verdugo, things are really going to start to get execution heavy once we start to get into the midsection of castle. So a lot of toxic sessions coming up here, but our runners are experienced their season. They're fully capable of being able to handle these things. So we'll just have to see how it unfolds as we start to get into that. So, but all around, despite some of the unfortunate circumstances that we've seen with a handful of our runners, overall it seems like most of these runs are going pretty well for the vast majority of the contestants.
Yeah, everyone's kind of at a different section right now. We have Blank still trying to do the chainsaw, ladies. We have Joydern coming out of there. Hopefully he doesn't get grabbed from behind. It looks like he's clear. Shark just finished. Where is Shark right now? He just ran away from Mendez, I believe. So he's heading onto the Mendez fight. And then we have Missing No quite a bit ahead already at the castle. Doing good with this catapult part. This can be a little bit tricky. If the enemies aren't where you want, especially Ashley. You don't want her to get grabbed right here. I mean, if she does, it's fine. You just, you can shoot the Ganado that's holding her or throw a flash. I don't think they'll want to throw a flash here, though, because the flashes... Oh, they did end up throwing a flash. I think they're doing infinite flash right now. But the flash grenades throughout this run are really important. You're not going to be seeing them use them willy-nilly. Flash are super, super rare and important in these runs. Especially when you get to, like, the water hall, where they're pretty much mandatory to get through the room just because there's so many enemies. I'm kind of curious, though, coming up to water hall, how that's going to go.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Joydern there taking the reset back to the beginning of the section because of the Ashley grab, resulting in the missed flash. And to kind of extend upon what Sneevil was just saying there. The flash grenades, not only are they rare, there is a finite number of them in the run. So when it comes to throwing a flash grenade, you've got to be certain that it is the last resort option in order to get through a section. Otherwise, you run the risk of not having enough in the late game where they're really going to matter, because, you know, the later you get into the run, of course, the less there are. So, you know, I want to say in total, there's maybe a dozen or so, maybe a little more than that you can pick up, but we really do need every single one of them. We do have Shark coming up on the Mendez fight there. You can see setting up the infinite nade glitch, throwing the grenade up into the air just to stun him, so that way he himself doesn't get stunned. And then you're going to go behind those crates, so that way as Leon starts to inch forward with every grenade throw, he's getting stopped by the crates, so that way you can just keep chaining them without having to back up or anything. Unfortunately, we don't have the same luxury with the second phase of this fight, but we do still have the ability to stun lock him. And you notice their Shark took a little bit of a break there to back up a little bit, because every time Leon throws a grenade, he moves just a couple of, it's like an inch forward, and so we have to correct that. Otherwise, you get too close to the fire, and then you have to set up the grenade glitch all over again. But as we can see here, stun locking Mendez with the grenades, a very quick kill there by Shark. Excellent job there. Fraggle also going into the Mendez fight now. And meanwhile, we also have Blanks not too far away, and Joydern just still struggling, trying to get through that double chainsaw section, and just not being able to get the luck on his side there.
Killing the chainsaw, ladies, is almost the easier part. Or, like, getting out of here is the hard part. Making
for
sure
sure.
Ashley doesn't get grabbed. You have to throw your flash at the right time. If you throw it too early, the enemies will still catch up to you. Once you hit the door, like, after you do the crank, see how they just, like, starting to push open the door, then you're normally fine. Unless Ashley's getting grabbed and then you need to save her. So there's a lot that can go wrong during that part. I've seen a lot of people die. And then look how far ahead Missing No is. Wow, already done with the Garrador downstairs and already working on this puzzle. Quite a sizable lead, honestly, with Missing No.
Yeah, Missing is having a fantastic day today with what we're seeing at this point. Now, that could all go into the gutter quickly, because Waterhall is right around the corner. And we definitely can't afford mistakes there, because a death in Waterhall can potentially cost not just a minute, but upwards of 3 to 4 minutes if it's in the later section. And unfortunately, Waterhall is not forgiving at all on No Merchant because of the, again, we've talked about this before, limited quantities of flash grenades, and not wanting to use really any more than about 2 of them in Waterhall. So, but ultimately just setting up the inventory there, just trying to make sure that there's enough supplies for later in the run. I know we have somebody in the chat asking about the rifle ammo. That's because we're going to have the CQBR later, and that's going to be pretty much destroying a couple of the encounters that we'll have in the late game. But ultimately, everything matters because of this limited inventory space here. And you know, we have Fraggle now entering the castle at 42 minutes, and it looked like 42:36 or so, which is actually still, if we look at the standings as they are now, in second place, I believe, with Shark arriving in the castle at the 44-minute mark. So even though Shark is actually seemingly ahead right now, that's only because Fraggle had to do those save scums earlier in order to make that situation work.
Yeah, near the end, it will be dependent on the in-game time as opposed to who you see finishes first. Because when you're in the pause menu and, like, doing certain, like, stuff in your typewriter, it actually pauses the in-game timer. So we will be waiting for the final result at the end. It's not necessarily who finishes first that what you're seeing. It's all dependent on whose in-game time is the fastest at the end.
Yep, we have Missing in the thick of Waterhall here, getting that halo wheel back and trying to get back up the stairs here. We can see Ashley is not far behind. This is actually a better setup than it looks like right now. As long as Ashley can keep up with Leon, if she does get grabbed, Missing does have the shotgun available on the off chance that things go in the unfortunate direction there. He can kind of get up close and be able to manage it effectively from there. I'm actually not sure. It looks like Blanks is right around that 44-minute mark going into Castle. So, you know, again, really close here between Shark and Blanks, actually. Again, even though Shark looks further ahead, their timing is actually quite close with what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ashley getting grabbed right away during the catapults. Had to use an extra flash. Hopefully that won't impact him too much later. It is a lot trickier though, the beginning of this run without the sniper rifle. Because normally in Waterhall, like all those enemies up top, you're able to shoot them with the rifle really quickly. But this time you have to be slow with the handgun. It's just a lot more, it takes a lot more skill to be able to do it this way, because every enemy, it doesn't take just one shot. You got to shoot them like 4 or 5 times. So it does make the Waterhall significantly harder on no merchant. But I'm sure all these runners have practiced it a lot. They know what they're doing. So hopefully everyone will be able to get through the Waterhall first try. Seems like Missing No's having a really good time so far. It is only the beginning of the upper section. It gets a little bit more chaotic later on. But Missing No, yeah, doing a really good job clearing the enemies. Good aim. So I'm hoping he'll be able to get through first try.
For sure, and we do have all runners in the castle now. Joydern happening off screen here, but having no issues with the Mendez kill, getting on through into the castle. And again, a very close race here. I did make a note of everybody's Chapter 7 start splits here, and we have Missing in the pack getting castle started with about 38 minutes and 48 seconds on the clock, followed by Fregelhausen at 42:36, and then very close together here we have Shark and Blanks both at a low 44 minute, with Joydern at 45 minutes. So this is still an incredibly close race, you guys. And again, Missing actually getting through Waterhall without too many issues, maintaining what's a 6-minute lead at this point on the back of the pack there. But really, again, you know, we're still relatively early in these runs that anything could happen. And I want to know what you guys in the chat are thinking. Who are you rooting for, and or what are some of the sections that you're curious to see in the, as we start to near the mid game here? What are some of the sections that you guys are looking to see, and what you might be even nervous about for some of these runners?
Can I answer? I'm looking forward to the island. It's gonna be really chaotic, especially though that last room with the double what do you call it? The double machine guns and stuff, where you hit the 2 levers. I think that's going to be a little bit of a crazy room. Also, duffel bag skip could make a big difference whether runners hit it or not. I'm not sure exactly how much time save it gives you, but it's significant enough where it could make the difference.
Absolutely. And we do have Shark coming out of Garrador section, not encountering any opposition there. Overall, looking very good out of there. Garrador, not a rough section. We're seeing Fregel on his way into it right now, which is a pretty consistent setup as long as you just time it right. There is the potential that you take a little bit of damage on the way out the door, but he does have a limited number of swipe frames to where you can actually possibly take damage. So once you hit that chain, you can see Fregel throwing the grenade there, and that should distract the Garrador just long enough to be able to get that gate open and run out of there. Unfortunately, Fregel falling behind just a little bit, but he was he could tell that he was falling behind, so you saw him turn around there and shoot the weak point, which was a 300 IQ play there, because that's something that, like, when you panic, a lot of times you just want to try to run away, but if he would have gotten caught at the ladder, that probably would have killed him. And that's that rare RNG that I was just about to tell you guys about, where sometimes it does happen, and Fregel was very quick on his feet there to turn around and hit the weak point, which fortunately, even with the pistol having no upgrades on it whatsoever, that was an incredible play there by Fregel to have that quick, you know, on the scene thinking there to be like, you know what, I got to shoot this guy and just stun him one more time so he doesn't hit me at the ladder. That was perfectly executed there by Fregelhausen. Great job.
Yeah, and that wasn't an easy shot to hit either. Like, he was turned to the side. You couldn't see his weak spot that much. Blanks, unfortunately, though, I'm noticing is having trouble with Ashley right now in the catapults. Ashley was incapacitated and then is getting carried away, so having a little bit of trouble there. Luckily, able to get her free. Hopefully, oh no, she got, what happened there? She got incapacitated again, maybe by the fire, but yeah, having some Ashley issues.
Yeah,
which is not fun. To be honest, it's not fun at all.
Really rough part here with Ashley, because there's just so many enemies running around that, you know, if she gets grabbed, it can set off a chain reaction of events where, especially if you don't take out the catapults in advance, you can end up in a very toxic situation very quickly with not a lot of room to be able to recover.
Yeah, we have Shark in the waterhole right now. Hopefully this will go well. I'm hoping this will go well for all of the runners because waterhole's just a stressful room. Like, no one wants to do this room twice. They know it's a long room too to restart, just kind of like the cabin. So I'm hoping Shark will have a good time with the waterhole, but it's just so unpredictable. Like, it's not the same every time. Obviously, speedrunning's easier if the enemies are in the same spot every time you run the game, but Resident Evil 4 Remake has enemies just everywhere, so there is a lot dependent on skill, but there is a lot dependent on RNG as well, so we'll see luck definitely have a big factor in today's race.
For sure, and we have Joydern also on approach to the waterhole here. Again, incredibly toxic section here. That when you're coming into this part of the run, you already know that the chances, especially if you're grinding for world record, you already know that the chances of not continuing your run are pretty low.
Yeah.
Just given how much volatility there is with enemy patterns and with Ashley getting grabbed like we are seeing here with Shark. Shark making the call there to go ahead and throw the flash, which was a perfect throw there. That will turn off the enemies now that he's actually up here, so he shouldn't have to worry about Ashley getting grabbed again, but she is going to be stunned from that flash, so he's going to be waiting around a while for Ashley to actually recover from the flash animation, and it does look like he has a friend joining him as well.
Oh,
Sometimes
no, I've never
what happens,
seen that.
Yeah, it's actually totally okay. So his AI is turned off, but he's just following you, so he won't actually he won't do anything, but he's incredibly annoying, and we're hoping that the guy doesn't accidentally bump into him and trigger Leon's stagger animation. But yeah, we like to call him the best friend because yeah, he'll just literally follow you around for the rest of the chapter.
Yeah, he's looking like he just wants a hug, to be honest. Like, it looks kind of sad.
Yeah,
just like,
he's just
I don't fit in here.
Savage.
Oh, no.
Oh man, that's so mean.
Oh, you killed your friend.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Shark.
Yeah, he was a non-combatant, and Shark just was not having any of that. But it is true. You can actually get staggered by him, and all it is just sometimes the enemy will be running, and if he runs directly into you, it'll push Leon. So that can obviously create a whole other set of issues aside from, you know, like, even though it doesn't deal damage, whole other set of issues there. So it's best to just not deal with that. We see Shark throwing the grenade there. The best thing that you can do in that spot is throw the grenade because, unfortunately, we don't have our upgraded weapons, right? So we have to deal with highly limited damage throughput, and in this particular case, throwing a grenade is a lot better with two enemies directly in Ashley's direct pathing she needs to take for that part of Waterhall. It's much faster to just throw the grenade and focus on other enemies, so that way we don't have to deal with her getting grabbed and then potentially more enemies showing up that are going to contribute to a potentially toxic situation.
Yeah,
and,
Shark's dealing with a little bit of a toxic situation right now. Just sort of, like, look how many enemies are up here, and he doesn't want to kill them all. He just doesn't have the ammo for it. Basically, he's just trying to buy Ashley some time to do the bridge. Luckily, there we go. Ashley did it just in time. I was a little bit worried he got hit like 4 times in a row, but he had enough health to get through the area, and it doesn't look like Ashley's getting grabbed. So a nice waterhole for Shark. And we have Joydern and Fraggle pretty much neck and neck right now. It's kind of cool to see.
For sure, and I do want to take a quick moment here to remind you guys in the chat that we are accepting prize pool contributions over on the tournament page. Exclamation point prize in the chat will take you directly there, and all of that money goes directly towards the winning, the top 3 winners. So please head on over to that Matcherino page. We're at $1,305, and I would love to see that number push closer to maybe $1,500 today. So please, guys, get your contributions in. If everybody in the chat contributes $5 right now, we could easily push that to be well beyond $1,500, even closer to $2,000 with everybody's support. So please, guys, get those contributions in, and I know for a fact that those runners would be greatly appreciative of having a larger prize pool to draw from when they win.
I mean, who doesn't want more money? Let's be honest, like, we need it to live, and it makes the stakes higher. Like, the runners won't technically know until after the run is done, but I'm sure they'll be happy to hear if the prize pool gets bigger, of course. I mean, who doesn't want that?
Certainly. And with that, it is also time for our G Fuel break here. So we're going to give Sneevil a couple minutes of a break here, and we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about G Fuel. And again, huge shout outs to G Fuel are in order for sponsoring not just the channel, but also this entire tournament. Everything that you guys are seeing today is the direct result of G Fuel's very generous contribution in order to help fund the prize pool and also to help pay our staff for 3 days of absolutely insane competition. So again, thank you so much to G Fuel. Everybody head on over to gfuel.com. Check out their amazing lineup of flavors, and don't forget, when you head to that checkout, use code HAZE, and that'll get you up to 30% off across the entire site. And today, I'm drinking my all-time favorite flavor with the all-time favorite event of the year, the Hazeblade Invitational, right? So, you know, I'm being cheeky, you know, is what it is. But yeah, so I'm drinking the snow cone flavor. That is my favorite flavor. So whatever your favorite flavor is, if you guys have tried G Fuel before, post that in the chat. I want to know your guys' favorite flavor, or what flavors maybe you guys have checked out the website and you're thinking about placing an order. I want to know what flavors you're interested in. Maybe I've got one of those flavors right here, and we can talk about it in the G Fuel Shrine. I'm seeing Avenged Wolf talking about the Wumpa Fruit. I have tried that. I don't have a tub or a can here, but I have tried the Wumpa Fruit, and it is awesome. It is the Crash Bandicoot licensed flavor, and I got those ones in a can, and it was it almost reminded me of like a sparkling like apple cider, and it was so good with those apple notes and that carbonation and everything. It was really tangy and just had a all around really good flavor. So but guys, here's a sip. Cheers to you guys. Cheers to G Fuel. And I hope you guys will take the opportunity to check out the website, and a couple of flavors here that are some of my all-time favorites outside of the snow cone. We also have the cotton candy flavor, which is inspired by Ninja. We have the Divine Peach, which is inspired by Moist Critical, who, if you guys don't know, is actually a huge speedrun fan and hosts multiple bounties recently within the last several months that puts up over $10,000. Usually it's $10,000 per bounty. So Moist Critical's got his own flavor as well. And we also have some other flavors as well. If you guys like Elden Ring, they have the Crimson Tears flavor, which is a prickly pear. And for the Sonic enjoyers, they have the Peach Rings, which I don't have that one on hand, but I do have the Party Punch, which tastes exactly like Fruity Pebbles. So guys, head on over to gfuel.com. Cheers to you guys. Cheers to G Fuel for sponsoring the tournament. And I'm going to leave you guys some Twitch ads here for just a couple of minutes here, and we'll get right back into the runs. And before I do that, thank you, Kian Lee, for the $25 contribution to the prize pool. Thank you so much for that. I greatly appreciate it. I know Sneevil greatly appreciates it, and I know for a fact that those runners are going to appreciate that too. So thank you. I'm going to run some ads, guys. Here's to you guys, and I will see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to the Hazeblade Invitational. I'm Hazeblade, and I am joined by the incredibly talented Sneevil.
Well, hello.
Sneevil, This event has been insane.
It is. It's so much fun. I'm so glad you asked me to host. Like I just love speedrunning. I love trying to get esports and speedrunning together because I think they just fit perfectly. Obviously, speedrunning requires high-level gameplay. Esports requires high-level gameplay. So putting those two together is it's just perfect. It really is. And I think all the runners are doing really well. We have some of them pulling ahead of the pack now. We're kind of seeing who's taking the lead, who's falling behind a little bit, but still, like, we have so much more of the run to go that anything can happen. I'm kind of interested to see. I see Missing No is about a chapter ahead of everyone else. So a significant lead, and I'm thinking now everyone kind of needs Missing No to, I don't want to jinx them, but to make a mistake. I mean, if Missing No keeps playing like this, I think Missing No has a good chance to take the win, at least for today. I'm not sure how the leaderboard will pan out in the end. But yeah, Missing No taking a really, really big lead. Not many mistakes at all so far. So I think people really need Missing No to, unfortunately, make a mistake because he's really pulling ahead of the pack.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And again, you know, Missing No has played incredibly well across all 3 days, really. And it's unfortunate because of the tech issues he had to concede yesterday. But really making up for that today with a passion. You can see that there is a flame burning over there because he is hauling it to make sure that he's able to win back after the unfortunate issues that he had yesterday. So, you know, and honestly, his run was off to a great start yesterday too. And he had, you know, just a couple of issues. I know, you know, pretty early on there in Village, he started to fall behind a little bit. And then, unfortunately, the power outage, he wasn't able to get back in, so he had to concede for the day. You hate to see that in the world of esports because, you know, we want everybody to be able to participate from the start all the way to the end of the competition. But it seems as if for Missing, that may not even matter because he's so far ahead that even with those issues, he's been able to come back and just bring the energy all the way through into now we're almost halfway through the run, and there's no sign at this point that that's letting up, and as long as he continues to play at this level, it's looking like he's going to secure the win today.
Yeah, I think he knows the pressure's on, especially, did he end day one in first?
He was, yeah. He had, I think it was 686 points at the end of day one. And then, unfortunately, he dropped down into, I believe it was third place because of the concession yesterday. And then now, you know, and he's only, I want to say, less than 200 points apart from first place. So, you know, we're kind of looking at Blanks now, who's in first place. And if he wants to stay in the lead there, he's at least got to rank up there, you know, in second or maybe even third place, because otherwise he might be giving up that first place, which, you know, I mean, even getting third place at this point, that prize pool is looking to be a few $100s, but you know, the difference between a few $100s and right now, if you're taking home the bag at first place, you're looking at almost $700 with the current prize pool. And again, if you guys are interested in contributing to the prize pool, please type !prize in the chat and head on over to the Matcherino page, because the more money is on that red bar at the bottom of the stream, by the end of the stream, the bigger that number is, the more money that the winners are going to receive. And right now, if you divide that number by 2, which is what the first place runner is going to get, that's going to put you at $665 at the end of that. So definitely a big bag to take home if you're coming in first place. And I know Blanks has got that in the back of his mind right now. And I also know that Missing is in it to win it as well. So we're just going to have to kind of see what happens. But it's a really close race right now. Really only about a minute separating the all 4 people at the top right now. Only about a minute or so. Or well, not including Missing because he's ahead by a lot. But but let's get back into the action.
Yeah. And also the prize pool, like, guys, these runners have worked so hard. Like, I feel like this has been a full-time job for the past week, just preparing for the tournament. Like, they are taking it seriously. I go off of after the last 2 days, I get off of this stream, like the tournament, and then I go watch everyone else practicing, and they are grinding like 12-hour days for this tournament. Everyone's taking it extremely seriously. So really looking forward to seeing if everyone's hard work pays off.
For sure, and it looks like we do have some progression unfolding here. Blanks nearing the end of Chapter 8. Meanwhile, Joydern and Shark well into Chapter 9. Shark working on the Armadurus section, which definitely can get to be pretty toxic, because you can definitely budget some flash grenades to alleviate this a little bit. But again, we've talked about this before. Flash grenades are finite in this game. You can't keep crafting them because no merchant. That means you can't buy the crafting recipe for flash grenades. So every flash grenade mattering so much in this run. Maybe using one here when you have to deal with 3 of them at once, that's not a big deal, but you really don't want to have to use them throughout the rest of the run. You can see Shark here actually going for the perfect parry strat, which definitely a bit of a flex there if you're Shark, because perfect parries are frame perfect. So if you're trying to do that, you know, you definitely got to know exactly what to look for when that parry window comes up. And again, with it being frame perfect, you know, you really got to know what you're doing to take that kind of a risk. And Shark definitely knows what he's doing. He's getting a pretty clean setup here, getting in for the kick to reveal these plagas here. Again,
Very
using that
nice
flash
timing
grenade,
with the flash.
cleaning up that entire pack. You can see he actually threw the flash before the kick. And if you don't immediately kick after throwing that flash, it actually doesn't kill that one. So that was a really good play there by Shark, just with the frame perfect parries.
Strats.
Yeah, Shark is really on it today too, and you know, unfortunately for Shark on that day 1, not landing any bingos at all, but still getting quite a bit of points in the challenge from yesterday. Now kind of seemingly back with a vengeance coming into day 3, the finale of the Hazeblade Invitational, trying to see if he can get back in the money. And, you know, he's pretty far behind on the points still, but if he has a great day and somehow is able to clutch up first place, he could, depending on how everyone else lands, he could end up back in the money. And that's exactly what you're hoping for if you're in Shark's place. And you can definitely tell that he is playing much more aggressively today in the hopes that he can secure the win there and ultimately end up as the 3rd place prize holder there.
Yeah, and I would like to thank Smoke Shrek for the $10 contribution with the comment, "Good luck to all runners." How wholesome. Thank you so much, Smoke Shrek, for the contribution to the prize pool. We're now up to $1,340. So thank you so much for everyone who's given to that so far.
And again, guys, if you haven't had a chance to do so, please head on over to the Matcherino page. That is !prize in chat. And every penny of that goes directly towards the winners that place in the top 3. First place is going to get 50%, second place is going to get 30%, and third place is going to get 20% of that money. So even if you're placing in third place here, you're still taking home about $270 almost. So definitely still a good chunk, $268 to be exact, which is still a really good chunk of change there, even coming in third place. And I know that, again, if you're in Shark's place where, you know, it's not really possible to win this thing, but still the chance to come into third, you can still play incredibly well here and get back into the money. And so even with all of this spread that we've seen and things start to kind of tighten up a little bit here into day 3, it is absolutely anybody's opportunity here to place anywhere within the top 3, despite the fact that we do have about, I want to say 200 or 300 points between the 1st and 5th place runners. So anybody can still land in the money here. It is absolutely not over yet. And we still have about, I'd say we're coming up on the halfway point for most of the runners here. So we still have half of this run left to go, you guys. And I can't wait to see what happens once we start getting into some of the more difficult sections of this run. We've had a little bit of a chill section here, but Chapter 10 is really going to be where things start to pick up because of the Novistadors, and we have the double
that's
Garradors.
a chaotic chapter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Novistadors, double Garradors, Verdugo, all in one nice, clean chapter.
And
there's
cute
not very
package.
many saves. Yeah, a nice little cute present for you. But that's a hard section because there's not many saves in between, and if you die, you're going back. You're going far back, setting you back a couple of minutes, so hopefully no one will have trouble on the double Garradors. I don't think they should have too much trouble with Verdugo with the infinite grenades, but if you don't do that, like, weapon swap and set up the glitch properly, you can really be in a lot of trouble there. But I'm really surprised how everyone except for Missing No is pretty much in the same place. Like, Blanks is a little bit behind, but everyone's doing the Grand Hall, about to do the Ashley section, and it's kind of cool to see how those 4 runners are still just in the same, like, area. They haven't gotten too far apart yet, so Yeah, pretty cool to see. And then missing no at the Novistadors already.
Yeah, and I want to
Quite
zoom in
far
on him
ahead.
actually because
Yes.
this is actually I would argue the most toxic section in the entire game because of the lack of body armor. Normally in any % new game pro where you have access to the merchant, even if you don't upgrade your health at all during this run, you have the body armor which substantially mitigates the damage that you take here. But the strategy here is actually to basically just YOLO and hope that you don't take more damage than you have in health readily available in your inventory. So the strategy here is that you actually wanted to have banked all of those first aid sprays. You can see that Missing actually has some extra health, so he only needs 2 extra first aids. But you can see the damage is starting to roll in, and so too does the consumption of health. But ultimately, like, this is the first half of Novi's, and he actually got through with only a couple of hits. There's times when you can only take a couple of steps at a time before getting hit constantly. And in Mixing's case,
so annoying. Yeah,
he's actually having a really great Novi haul here, which again, you know, if you're in the lower part of the bracket, you really are kind of hoping that Missing trips up here, but that is not what we're seeing. In fact, we're quite seeing the opposite, that Missing's actually going to go ahead and use a flash grenade here just to secure safety at the end of this part of the run. But again, you know, we have double Garrador coming up back to back, another incredibly toxic section here as we get into the sort of the backbone of the castle before we then sort of get into some downtime here. But I want to stay trained in here on Missing to see how this double Gary goes, because you're going from one toxic section right into another. We'll probably zoom back in on Missing once he gets into the Verdugo fight. But yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of action here coming out of Missing, and just all around solid delivery of these strategies.
Yeah, luckily has got all the heavy grenades that they need, because this run really depends on your heavy grenade drops. You cannot craft them, so you're hoping, I think you need for the later part of the run after this, you need like 3 more. You need 1 for the turret, you need 1 for Sadler, I believe, and then there's 1 other one that you need as well. But these runners will also be, like, the drops that they get could really affect their gameplay, whether or not they get those heavy grenades or not.
Wow, did you just see that perfect parry on the Garrador?
Yes, I did,
oh my
yeah.
god. That was insane. Yeah, unfortunately, he's getting some bad luck here, but he was able to recover, and unfortunately had enough health left over from the the Novi section there that he was able to recover really smoothly, and you honestly couldn't even really tell that it went down south there, but that parry was much needed there. Otherwise, it probably would have consumed just about all of the remaining health in his inventory. So really solid play there by Missing.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Hayes. So you're not able to repair your knife, right?
Correct.
There's no merchant. So do the runners need to be particularly careful not to parry too much? Because I know you do need your knife for Krauser.
Yes. So, yeah, the knife itself is only a little bit better than the boot knives that you can get in the castle. I think it's only, you know, a fraction better. But yeah, you can, if you have a good Gigante fight and you don't rely on the knife for the rest of the run, you can have enough durability to use it for Krauser later. And some people will actually bank the knife until later on in the run and pick it back up for Krauser. But we're just going to have to see, you know, based on each individual runner, what strats they decide to go for.
Yeah. And also, we got another contribution of $10 from Block's Verified Investments saying, my money is on blanks. Why, thank you, Block's Verified Investments, for the $10 contribution. The prize pool is now currently sitting at $1,350. So thanks again for everyone who's contributed. And I'd love to see that number hit 1,500 today if we could.
Absolutely. Don't forget to head on over to the Matcherino page, you guys. ! prize in the chat. And yeah, let's see if we can't hit $1,500, you guys. That's everybody in the chat. Even if everybody in the chat just donated $1, we'd be well on our way to hitting that $1,500. And even things like $5 or $10, that would get us closer to $2,000. Which, you know, hey, if you're at $2,000 in the prize pool and winning this tournament, I think $1,000 payday is a pretty good deal, don't you think, Sneevil?
I think that's a pretty good deal. Plus, I'm Canadian. That's US dollars. That's a really good deal.
Yeah, that conversion rate, you guys get like 27.5% more or whatever that
that
translates
it's good
to.
When getting US dollars, when having, like, I went to GDQ in the States. Yeah, that wasn't good, the exchange rate backwards, but yeah.
So we do have missing in the prep stages for Verdugo. So we're going to zoom in on that here in just a moment. Most of the runners here getting through the Ashley section. Shark just finishing up the Ashley section and making his way to the CQBR. And, you know, again, we're seeing missing just significantly ahead of the pack here, which is just really unprecedented considering that, you know, with yesterday, the concession and, but all around having a really great performance here at this tournament. And, you know, really we say unprecedented based on yesterday, but really I think we can all agree that, you know, we expected nothing less from one of the top 3 runners here in the professional echelon of just competitive speedrunning of Resident Evil 4. So,
yeah, I believe Missing No, I'd have to check the leaderboard again, but I believe Missing No has the New Game Pro record right now. So really familiar with the professional category, maybe not No Merchant as much, but the skills definitely seem to have translated into this run. And I'm surprised Blank's doing a really good job catching up here. Still a little bit behind, but in the Ashley section, I think they'll be able to catch up to the pack. Had a really clean grand haul, so happy for Blanks.
Absolutely, and we do have Missing coming up on the Verdugo fight. So here in just a moment, we're going to zoom in on that so we can get the play-by-play here, sort of on the strats here, because this strat is actually covered it recently with the previous 2 days, but we're about to see that now here where Missing is actually freezing Verdugo at the same time as getting infinite nades. And it looks like he's actually encountering a little bit of an issue here. He's trying to line up this nade, so he's actually taking his time. He almost knocked himself out of infinite nades, but yeah, getting the freeze with the ammo swap for the heavy grenades, and now is just going savagely with throwing those heavy grenades at Verdugo. And you can actually keep Verdugo stun locked to the point of death here. Unfortunately, Verdugo, though, getting knocked out of the corner, which is an incredibly dangerous situation to be in if you're Missing. And so Missing's trying to hold on here, but it's looking like Verdugo might actually make it out, and Missing's going to lose quite a bit of time here if Verdugo is able to get out of the stun here, because that means Verdugo is going to go away, and unfortunately Missing not able to get backwards movement there from Verdugo. So every time he's throwing the grenade, he's getting thrown closer and closer. So you know, Missing really thinking on his feet here. Just an incredible save, but unfortunately losing the glitch. So now we're actually going to see the worst case scenario. This is not what you want to see for Missing here, because now he's going to have to set it up again on the other side of this gate, which is nowhere near as easy to set up the second time as it is the first. And if this goes remotely wrong here, he is going to be in a world of hurt. This is not looking good for Missing here, and Missing has maintained a compelling lead in this entire competition, and now it is quite likely that we're going to see Missing giving up the lead if he can't get back into an acceptable range of getting through and killing Verdugo here. And Verdugo's only at 2% health. Can he get through without getting killed or potentially messing up? And he does get him down to, he's at 2.3% HP, but still just not able to get through. Just incredibly painful situation here where, you know, we see Missing just trying to get any kind of damage at all, and he's just struggling to get through and hoping that he'll be able to hit this switch and recover without potentially dying here. Getting the parry, though, a really, really strong recovery there from Missing, and just ultimately landing in the really, gosh, I'm speechless here. That was, wow. What an incredible recovery there.
I was like, maybe he should have restarted, but I think it's good he kept going. He was able to pull off the kill. If he wasn't able to pull it off at the end, that would have really sucked for Missing, but really good recovery, especially with the grenades in the room. That was very dangerous. As soon as he comes out of the corner, I feel like most runners would reload in that instance, or I don't even know what you would do, but that was extremely impressive, and good job to Missing for making it out of there, even though it wasn't optimal at all.
Yeah, definitely a really, really strong recovery there, and I can already tell you guys that my mods are on the prowl for the G Fuel play of the day, and this might end up being a contender, you guys. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that would be a great contender, honestly. Especially that parry near the end was just legendary. But also something else that is legendary is Avenged Wolf with the $50 donation or contribution towards the prize pool saying, "Love everyone. Let's go!" Thank you so much, Avenged Wolf. We have now hit $1,400 for the prize pool. So thank you again, everybody. Thank you for everyone who's contributed. Thank you to everyone who's watching. And just thank you. You guys are the best.
Absolutely, and there is still plenty of run remaining in this competition, you guys. There is plenty coming up. We have a lot of runners right around the corner from this Verdugo phase, and we're seeing Blanks entering Chapter 10 on his way for the CQBR. We have Joydern really nearing the corner here for the Verdugo fight, going into the sewer, so that should be coming up here pretty soon. And then Fraggle working on double Garrador at the moment, so we are really close to seeing quite a few boss fights here, and just kind of hoping that these runners don't run into the same issue that that Missing ran into. But gosh, I gotta say, that has got to be one of the biggest highlights of the event today, is just the absolutely insane recovery by Missing, who's had this commanding lead all day today, really on the hunt to secure that first place win today, to try to move, not just, he is in the money right now in third place, but really trying to secure that win. You can tell that that Missing is definitely hungry to move up on the leaderboards today.
Yeah, Missing he's playing his heart out. Like, he knows he has to go big or go home today, especially being a little bit lower on the leaderboards after day 2. So you can tell he's been practicing. He knows the route down. He knows all the strategies that he needs in case of emergencies. But yeah, overall, super clean run. Like, even with the Verdugo and stuff, I'd still consider this run really clean. Yeah, still way ahead of the pack. But the other runners are all, like, I have no idea who's in second right now. Like, everyone's kind of fighting for second at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to try
Shark,
to take...
though, catching up quite a bit. And Joydern.
For sure, and I'm going to try to take a bit of an inventory of everybody's IGT once we get to the island, so that way we can kind of start forecasting and making predictions on where we think that this is going to go, because again, getting to the island isn't necessarily, there's a lot of things that can go wrong in the island, so getting a good idea of where everyone sits is gonna kind of help us sort of forecast a little bit where we think people are gonna land, because if Missing has a great day today, not only is that gonna keep him in the money, but also potentially move up into that second or first place spot. And right now we have Blanks up at the top with just around almost, I believe, 1,200 points, and that of course leading into our second place with just under 1,100 points. So the spread is really tight here, that, again, Missing getting the win, he's really got to hope that Blanks ends up at the lower end if he wants to try to overtake both Joydern and Blanks and potentially secure that first place spot.
Yeah, it's really not only about which position they're in, it's which position they're in relative to everyone else, because with the people in the lead, like, say they get second, they're still going to be pretty high up on that leaderboard. I think they do need to bank on some of the people who are in the top 3 to do worse today. Of course, we don't want this is a friendly competition. Like, no one wants anyone else to fail. But it is for a prize pool. It is competitive as well. So these runners do want to win, even though it is a friendly competition.
Absolutely, and we're seeing Shark in the Verdugo fight here with a very good setup here, and this is kind of what we were explaining before the unfortunate situation that transpired with Missing earlier, but Shark has a very good and solid setup here to be able to finish off Verdugo without a hitch, and so there's the kill without any issues whatsoever, which is exactly what Missing was hoping for, but unfortunately was just not able to secure.
Yeah, I think that'll help Shark, though, pull up a little bit closer to Missing now. And Joydern, how's he doing with the grenades? I missed it.
It looks like he's paused. Oh, it looks like he actually failed the setup, so he's going to have to backtrack here, which if you're Missing, you're probably very happy about that right now. But again, the runners themselves, unless they've got people in their chat that are kind of, watching the tournament and then going back into their chat and giving them the updates, I know some people in chat like to do that. So, if you're Missing, you're definitely glad that people are getting stuck on Verdugo here, just being able to maintain that lead. But unfortunately, Missing take faking the death on Gigante and just everything falling apart all at once. You hate to see that. We're hoping that he made a backup save, but it is not looking like that's going to be the case here.
Yeah, unfortunately, has to redo this other part as well, because obviously you're not going to do this part, run all the way back to the save and save before Gigante's. Oh no, did he save before?
It looks like he did save, so that was
like
a really good recovery by missing no there. But oh my goodness, that's still like, you just definitely don't want to run into that situation because you're still looking at over a minute time loss. And on top of that, having to still do the fight once again is just not optimal. You know, it's... Gosh, you really... I can only imagine what that would have been like if he didn't save and had to do the dynamite section all over again.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I was surprised he actually saved before that, but I think maybe he was a little bit nervous going into the Gigantes. Maybe it's a section he's not as comfortable with, knew he wanted to save beforehand, and I think it really worked out. It ended up saving him probably a minute by going back and saving, so that was a good decision on missing No's part.
Yeah, definitely smart to play it safe.
Yeah, Joydern trying to do Verdugo again. Let's see how that goes. He really needs this this kill. And not to have to reload again, I think.
Certainly, and yeah, Joydern really going in, trying to make sure that we don't run into another issue again to end up loading the save, but still looking pretty good there. I think Joydern should be securing the kill, but unfortunately, the over-ambitious nade throw there, similar to what we saw with missing earlier, really not what you want to see here, and so Joydern looking like it's probably going to be another situation where we have to do this once again. I'm not sure if he was able to get the kill. I don't know if I can see the SRT there showing the health bar, but I don't think he was able to get the kill, which, again, you just really don't want to be encountering that situation. But, you know, we are going to see how that unfolds, but it is time for that G Fuel intermission here. So we're going to send Sneevil off on a quick break here, and I'm going to appear to you all once again and let you guys all know about G Fuel. You guys can head on over, if you haven't done so already, gfuel.com, and don't forget that you can use code Haze at checkout for up to 30% off your order. I am drinking the amazing snow cone flavor, which my all-time favorite there. I do have a couple of favorites, but this one's definitely the all-time favorite. It's my go-to, and I'm actually, sadly, chat, I'm gonna have to show you here that I'm actually running low. I'm running low. Look, it's almost empty. I got maybe like three or four G Fuels left of this one before it'll be empty, and then I'll be really sad. But you know what? It's gonna be okay because I'm gonna get some more, and then I'm gonna be a very happy Blade, and everything is gonna be okay. And everything can be okay for you too if you guys head on over to the website and check out some of your favorite flavors. Or if you don't know what your favorite flavor is, that's what I'm here to do. Is I'm here to talk about all of these flavors that I have on my desk, so that way maybe you get an idea of something that you might want to order on the website. So again, I am drinking the snow cone here. Amazing flavor here, but we do also have the cotton candy, which I think is a really close second for me. And we also have our Elden Ring flavor. If you guys like the fruity variety, we actually have a couple of different options here. We have the Party Punch and the Crimson Tears. I said this the last 2 days, it tastes like the tears of your enemies, you guys. Nothing sweeter, okay? Nothing sweeter. And I know you guys in the chat earlier were actually talking about hype sauce, and I have a tub of that right here. That was actually one of the first G Fuel flavors that I had the luxury of trying. So I definitely recommend any of the ones that are kind of like a lemonade combination as your first G Fuel flavor if you haven't tried them yet, because I think honestly, like making lemonade with something in a shaker, they all taste like really good. They have that nice tang flavor to it, and honestly, I think hype sauce is one of those really good options for like your first flavor. And funny enough, when I first started working with G Fuel, that's the same thing that they said to me, and I couldn't agree more, because of just the fact that there's a little bit of complexity in the raspberry with the lemonade, because you have two otherwise really sort of like kind of like a sour and tart flavors combining with each other. But honestly, I couldn't agree more that it's a great starting flavor to kind of get you introduced to some of the complexities with some of the more, I would say, complex is the go-to word here, the keyword, flavor profiles. But there is also simpler options as well. And I think a good example of that here would be the blue ice, which is just a straight up blue raspberry. This one is actually, it's not a new flavor, but it is a remastered flavor, which means that they took the old formula, updated a little bit to give it a little bit more of that vibrant signature G Fuel flavor profile as they've come to be really known for nowadays, and put it into a nice, beautiful new tub here. And you guys can check this one out as well. Blue Ice, it is a blue raspberry flavor, and I also highly recommend this one for those who have a little bit simpler of a palate. But that is going to do it here for our G Fuel integration for this half hour. Again, thank you so much to G Fuel for sponsoring the tournament. Head on over to gfuel.com and don't forget to use code HAZE at checkout for up to 30% off your order at checkout. I'm going to play some ads for another 90 seconds, guys, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start to see some of these runners get into the end section of the castle and moving on to the island, and we're going to start predicting what we think might be the outcomes and who our potential winners might be for this tournament. So we're going to come back here in a couple of minutes and we'll give you the lowdown on what our predictions are, and I would love to know what you guys think too. So get that hype in the chat, let us know who you're rooting for, and we'll see you soon. Be back in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to the Hazeblade Invitational, powered by G Fuel. We are back in the action, you guys. Unfortunately, we saw Fregelhausen with a death there, going back to what looks to be the dynamite section.
Yeah, Blank's able to pull back into the pack, though, with a lot of the deaths. And I know Joydern was having a lot of trouble with Verdugo. I think took multiple deaths on that. But yeah, Blank's back in the pack, pretty much head-to-head with Fregel. Look at the sync on that, the roll. Neck and neck going into the double Gigante fight. Hopefully it'll go smoothly for both of these runners. I don't think they're going to be doing the same thing as Missing No, going back and saving. I'm curious to see if they do that here. But I don't think they'll be doing that, so if they do take a death during the double Gigantes, they do need to redo this entire section. So this is another very big make-or-break moment. We have Joydern going into the Dynamite section, so not too far behind, even with all the deaths with Verdugo. And then we have Shark a bit ahead of everyone else. I think Missing No is the only one who's ahead of Shark. Of course, we don't know exactly who's ahead of each other, like precisely, because it does go by the in-game timer. But just going by what's on screen, it looks like Shark is doing a really good job already at the minecart section and ready to continue Chapter 11.
Yeah, unfortunately, Fregel missing the drop on the Gigantes, which is a really not what you want to see. And so looking at the time loss situation, that really could end up being particularly fatal for Fregel, because as you mentioned, we didn't see a safety save there. So Fregel's got to make the decision here on what he wants to do, because yeah, I mean, that kind of time loss is really not ideal here in the grand scheme of things, but it looks like he is going to try. I don't think he has a
flash to spare, because normally you will flash the non-armored one, and he'll stay on the platform long enough for you to drop him, but that's what the setup where you start it and they're both in the same position every time and you're able to do that more easily. But here I'm not sure what his strategy is going to be for this fight. Because he did choose to continue it, but I'm not sure if this is going to end up losing him more time than reloading would. We'll have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think his goal here is to just try to see if he might be able to spare, because again, as you mentioned, he doesn't have another flash to spare here. We've already budgeted one for this fight, and so it looks like he's going to make an effort to try and keep him out. That was a great shot there to get him stunned on the platform, but the other Gigante was pushing him away. It looks like that's a pretty good setup there for the drop, though, so he will get it. Unfortunately, what looks to be about a minute time loss, but yeah, definitely not ideal there in Fregel's situation, trying to get back into the swing of things here, but fortunately able to recover though all the same, and eventually that aggro is going to turn over to him after Luis runs away. We see blanks coming out of that section without too many issues. Shark in the mine carts, but really everything that we're seeing on screen here is actually quite close. And I know Shark is in that minecart section. I believe Missing should be coming out of the minecart section actually quite soon, so we might be able to zoom in on that. It does look like he is on the other side of the minecarts, flashing the Novies and making his way towards Krauser.
Yeah, how hard is I'm guessing the Krauser fight's pretty hard, because I think on the normal, with the merchant route, they do upgrade their knife at least a little bit, but this is done with the base knife that doesn't do very much damage. So it's a much longer and more demanding Krauser fight, much more room for mistakes as well. So hopefully this goes clean for Missing No. Also, Blanks, I'm really impressed with Blanks today, because Blanks did have a bit of a rough early game, was a bit behind of the pack going into Castle. But now Blanks has actually gone ahead of Fregel and Joydern, at least from what I can see. So good job to Blanks for not letting the early game being a bit rough get to his head, doing a really good job recovering. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this will play out in the end, because I have no idea how they're going to place at all. Still so much could change in the span of the next few chapters.
Absolutely, and I think let's kind of drill down a little bit here. We know that Joydern had to reset twice on Verdugo, so really far behind here, and not a good situation to be in if you're Joydern right now. Which if you're Blanks in this case, you're really wanting to make sure that you land either significantly ahead of Joydern in order to maintain your lead, but Missing's having a great run too. So the alternative to that is that, if Missing's going to win the day, which it's very much looking like he's going to win the day, Blanks at least needs to make it to where he's in that top, 3 or 4, because you can't afford to give up. I mean, 4th place, you're already going to be 200 points down compared to winning it because of how big the spreads are on the point values with today's event. So in Blanks' case, he's really got to be in the top 3 or 4 to maintain 1st place. And right now, it's looking like that's very well the case. We had Fregel reset Dynamite. We had Joydern reset twice on Verdugo. And I think the only real competition that Blanks has right now is Shark, which they're I would say pretty close to neck and neck here. We'll have to see what the IGT actually looks like at the end of the castle. But right now, it's looking like Missing's going to win the day. And I would say that Blanks and Shark are probably going to be looking at our 2nd and 3rd place, and then Fregel and Joydern will have to look at to see who's going to be at the bottom there. But ultimately, if you're Joydern, you have to worry a little bit about whether or not you're going to be in the money by the end of this thing with the resets that we've had to deal with. If we remember back to Chapter 1, he also had to reset the village.
Yes, I forgot about that, but seem to have recovered that pretty well. I'm really impressed still how everyone's kind of even. I thought there would be a bit more spread by this point, but seeing everyone on the mine carts is kind of amazing. I love seeing close races like this, and it makes it so much more exciting just as a viewer, honestly. And we have Missing No coming into this section. We had some people having trouble with this yesterday, particularly, I think right here. Yep. Missing No, getting grabbed a couple of times. Able to get out of there, though. I wonder how much health Missing No has. I'm assuming enough for this section. Yeah, I'm able to recover that part nicely, and the elevator shouldn't be too much of an issue. Luckily, the RNG and AI for that part is relatively the same every time. There shouldn't be too many surprises there. Salazar should be fine as long as they have a golden egg. And I don't think Missing No should have too much trouble with the end of this chapter unless they get hit by a ball or something like that. Let's see how this goes. Throws a flash grenade, so that's pretty easy to get past.
Yeah,
and
there's a way.
To know what he's doing, yeah.
I wasn't looking specifically at his screen there, but I was looking to see if he had set up the, I'm genuinely curious to see if he set up the infinite flash there, because you can actually do, at least up until the point when the Iron Star shows up, you can do the infinite flash grenade to get a pretty free first half here. But
I think that's what he was doing, because I looked down at the weapon and it was showing the shotgun, I believe. So I think he used the infinite flash for a
Oh, no.
Oh, no!
Unfortunately, taking the death almost near the top there. I'm assuming he made a safety save.
Painful.
Going into that there. Yes, he does make a safety save, so that's only going to come at minimal time loss. But still, again, you know, we see Missing here, you know, he's at 1 hour and 36 minutes going into the clock tower. And, you know, just looking at everyone else's IGTs who are also right about that 1 hour and 36 minute mark, who are not quite as far into the run as he is. But unfortunately, these mistakes, if they add up over the course of the island, he could potentially lose the lead.
Yeah, and we got to remember the island is very chaotic on its own. I feel like the entire run is chaotic. Like, there's not a single segment that's like, okay, this part is easy necessarily. There's always risks involved with each part. Yeah, so he does do the infinite flash there with the torch guy. That's a really good decision. You're able to get past these guys a lot easier, but hopefully is able to make it upstairs without getting hit by the ball again. Because of course, getting hit by that big spiked ball is an insta-kill, so you get touched by it even a little bit, you got to start the entire section over, so hopefully he gets out of here clean.
Yeah, so far it looks like Shark is kind of working his way through. He's going to lose the flash setup here, but he does manage to get through there. I'm assuming we're going to see a safety save come out of here as well, which is definitely a good move here. You know, when we consider what's happened with Missing so far this run, you know, just trying to get back into the swing of things here. And it does look like we are going to see the phase 2 clock tower from Missing here. So he does get up there without getting hit by the Iron Star, but definitely a rough spot for Missing, because, you know, the level of play that we've seen from him all day today with, you know, the clutch save on Verdugo, despite overwhelmingly poor RNG, has still kept him in the lead, not just by, you know, a little bit, but he's had a commanding lead here pretty much since about chapter 5. He was one of the only people that didn't run into issues in the cabin, and that he's really been able to maintain that lead ever since.
Yeah, I think the cabin, honestly, looking back at it, was really a big make or break moment, because I don't remember who it was, but someone died twice, a couple runners died once, and I think Missing No got through on the first attempt, so that was really the first time he was able to get ahead of the pack, and luckily he was able to keep the lead pretty much for the entire rest of the run up to this point. I'm curious to see, though, if he's able to maintain this lead.
Definitely, and with some of the volatility that we're going to see with Krauser on the island, among other things like turret skip, you know, we definitely don't want to count our chickens yet, because there is a lot of room for things to go very wrong very quickly in these last, I would say, probably 40 minutes or so of gameplay. And the last thing that we want to see coming out of these runners is, you know, any sort of toxic, volatile situation that ends up resulting in minutes of time loss. And if you're missing situation right now, you really can't afford too many more of these mistakes for fear of putting the rest of the run in jeopardy and potentially losing your first place spot.
Yeah, I think Missing knows he needs to play really well today, which obviously he is, but when we look at the other runners, they are on the chapter before. So Missing No right now is on chapter 12, basically in the middle of chapter 12. And all the other runners are on the end of chapter 11. So really, if you think about it, they're not that far behind. If Missing No does have a bit of trouble with the island, like, there's definitely a big chance people can catch up still. No one's out of the race yet.
Oh yeah, by all means, this race is definitely not over. And so, you know, just looking at some of the different things that we're already considering going into chapter 13 are the regenerators and being able to dispatch the one with the wrench quickly, and then manage the the Krauser fight with the different ammo quantities people will have. Unfortunately, Blanks here whiffing the flash grenade, but he's able to recover there. But also, oh no, unfortunately taking damage there, but I think he will get through. He's already near the end. But otherwise, in the island, you're also looking at War Room and just the overarching difficulty of Chapter 15. And really where a lot of this is going to boil down to is, you know, are we going to see just all around solid gameplay coming from the people that really are in the most crucial spots here? I think, you know, Fregel, unfortunately with the concession yesterday, moving from 2nd place all the way down to 4th. And so, you know, in his particular case, he's really got to try to recover here. And I want to say he definitely still has a chance to move back up into 3rd, considering that Joydern, you know, with the multiple resets today, could potentially be forfeiting that 2nd place spot.
Yeah, we have Missing No coming up on fighting Salazar right now. It looks like he's good for the kill. You pretty much just blast it from here with the, he's using a rifle, so it's using rifle ammo. That's the CQBR, which you pick up after the Ashley section. But able to do it first try, so Missing No has been doing, I don't think he's died very much. Like, he didn't even die during Verdugo. Can you remember any time that Missing No has died?
I don't think that we've seen Missing die at all. If he did, it was a death that, well, he did die in the clock tower, but he got hit by that Iron Star. But none of his deaths have been so punishing that it's just completely taken him out of the running for anything here. And even looking at Shark now, who's at 1 hour and 42 minutes at the lower clock tower here, really still not even that close to missing despite some of these mistakes. And again, it's a lot of just the culmination of this top level gameplay that we're seeing out of that, and ultimately what we want to continue to see throughout the rest of this event if we're going to see Missing No as our winner.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of a race for 2nd place right now, as long as Missing keeps going this pace. But being 2nd can really make a difference. Like, the points, obviously, so first, the way the points works, by the way, is that, I think I wrote it down somewhere, but 1st place gets, like, a certain number of points, 2nd place gets a bit less than that, 3rd is less. So obviously you want to be in the top for the most possible points. But you are also depending on who's going to be in the bottom and who's going to be getting less points in order to maybe move down the leaderboard so you can move up. So
absolutely. And so looking at where we are total right now, we do have Blanks in 1st place right now, and he is about 90 points ahead of Joydern. But unfortunately, Joydern just cannot catch a break here in the later part of this run. So at 1 hour and 42 minutes, just now finishing up Chapter 11. Meanwhile, most of everyone else is well on their way through Chapter 12 within a similar time frame. We have Shark about 1.5 minutes ahead of that in terms of the timing, but also well on his way up the clock tower. We do have Blanks in the clock tower as well, sitting on 1 hour and 42 minutes. So really still a pretty close race here, but you know, again, Blanks wanting to maintain that lead and really not able to give up more than about 150 points or so safely, which would mean that he would have to at least be in the top 3 at the end of today in order to be able to maintain that 1st place spot. Otherwise, we're looking at a pretty volatile leaderboard where we could potentially see a lot of movement, especially if Missing can't maintain that lead and ends up dropping down into 2nd or maybe 3rd place or worse.
Yeah, I'm honestly glad that no one's super far ahead on the leaderboard, because it just makes it so much more exciting today. We're definitely going to be seeing some change on the leaderboard. It's just, what is that change going to be exactly? Yeah, all the runners doing a really good job. It looks like Shark and Blanks, according to their IGT, are pretty much head to head. Like, Shark is a bit farther ahead, but his timer is also about 1 minute ahead of Blanks. So Blanks and Shark doing a really good job coming up to the Salazar fight.
For sure. And just a friendly reminder to all of you watching at home, you can contribute to the prize pool for the winners. And right now we are at 1,400 even. And the more money that shows up at the bottom of that screen, the more money the winners are going to get. First place gets 50% of that prize pool. So right now that's a $700 payout. Second place is going to get 30%, and third place is going to get 20%. So if you guys want to make a difference and get more money out to those runners and the winners of the event, please head on over. It's !prize in the chat for a direct link where you can add money yourself to the prize pool, which I know the runners would be very appreciative of. And just as another reminder, Sneevil and I don't take any of that money at all. We are already generously compensated as part of the G Fuel sponsorship, so don't worry about that, guys. This is all towards the runners, so please, guys, get those contributions in. I would love to see us hit $1,500 before the end of the stream today. So get those donations in, guys, or those contributions in, and let's hit that 1,500.
Yeah, I'd love for it to hit 1,500, and it makes the math easier for you, Hayes. So there you go.
Well, I don't have to do the math because when I pay out the prize pool, the Matcherino does the math for me.
Oh, nice. There you go.
So that's nice, but
yeah.
but if we want to appeal to the empathetic crowd, yes, please save me time and hassle, and let's just make it a,
yes,
you know.
There we go.
I'm just teasing. But yes, do get those contributions in. We would greatly appreciate it.
Oh, Missing No just did an interesting skip with the mine on the wall. And he actually went out of bounds, and that's the first time I've ever seen that strategy used in that room, so really interesting to see that. There are ways to get out of bounds without the sniper rifle, but because right now they don't have this, I think it's the scope, right, that makes them go out of bounds?
Yes, so the scope clip, it kind of pushes or I should say like Leon's hitbox into the wall. And so that's kind of what allows you to clip through doors, is because it'll actually let you like open the door from the other side. And so, or rather push against it from the other side. So with the C4 glitch, though, the way that works is it's kind of a similar thing where, like, if Leon rotates when disarming a C4, it'll actually like do a similar thing where his hitbox goes into the wall. And so you can do that in chapter 1 to do that out of bounds that we talked about earlier, and then you can do it again here, which unfortunately here only saves about 4 seconds, but hey, time save is time save. So
yeah, it seems like Missing No is pulling out all the stops to get as far ahead as possible, which is a good idea. I mean, use all the speedy strats, especially if you know they're not going to waste a lot of time or they're not going to put you in danger. Missing No is really, really talented in this game. So is everyone else. So they know all of the strategies. And it's just who can do it the fastest and who gets the best luck.
Absolutely, and I wanted to check in on Fraggle since we haven't seen him too much in a while, and it does look like Fraggle is also in a pretty good spot right now, and in fact, I actually believe that he is ahead of Blanks and Joydern right now in terms of pacing.
So.
Now, of course, you know, anything could happen here, but yeah, Fraggle in the clock tower at sub hour and 45 minutes. Meanwhile, we have Blanks and Joydern sitting closer to an hour and 47. So we actually do have a pretty large spread here, which was kind of unexpected because I wanted to sort of see what it was going to look like when we went into Island, and I funny enough, I actually forgot to look at Missing at his time. So we'll evaluate things based on chapter 13. And hopefully get a good estimate for you guys. But we are about at the point where we can start making some pretty accurate predictions here. And I do think that if things continue to go well, I think Missing probably will end up going in first place. And Fraggle is looking to be our second place candidate right now. Of course, that could change on a whim like it did yesterday. So by no means are we counting anything at this point. But, you know, we are coming up on the second half. We are well into the second half of this run, I should say, and, you know, things are going to become pretty telling and much more apparent as we start to approach the end game.
Yes, it looks like Blank's doing a good job with the Salazar fight, hopefully able to get the kill here. I mean, Salazar is so difficult if you're not able to get to the kill right away. Obviously, if you fought him casually, like, he just flies around the room. Absolutely terrible, but I think all these runners have got Salazar down. I'd kind of be surprised if anyone died at Salazar. We'll have to see how Joydern and Fraggle do, because they're coming up on the same boss fight, so curious to see this. And then we have Blanks finally heading into the island.
Yeah, it looks like everybody is seeming to keep a pace here pretty well. And even though we have a bit of a spread right now, it's like you said earlier, Sneevil, you know, we have a really interesting scenario where even though everybody's kind of having a different time right now, everybody's in the same section except for Missing, who's just way ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, Missing, like, I'm trying to calculate exactly how far ahead he is. I think, like, at least 5 minutes.
I would say that
like,
that's
he's
about
a
right,
good
yeah.
5 minutes ahead. So I am thinking, like, if I were to make a bet right now on someone, I'd definitely make a big bet on Missing, because catching up when someone's 5 minutes ahead, like, Missing needs to make a big mistake, like multiple huge mistakes in order for the other people to get first place, at least for today.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that there's anybody, or I have to imagine that there's somebody in his ear, rather, letting him know how far ahead he is. And, you know, it's possible that we're going to see him adjust his strategy on the fly here and potentially play things quite a bit safer in the interest of knowing that there's time available to lose in the event that things go wrong.
Yeah, it is interesting because every runner is on their own channels and has their chat able to help them. Like, there's no rules saying your chat can't say anything to you, right? So
no,
the
yeah,
chat,
I mean, you can
I'm
definitely
not sure.
do that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting because I don't think all of the runners know exactly where they are in the pack. Some of them might have been told by their chat, but other ones, they might not know that they're super far behind, and that they might need to take more risks in order to catch up.
For sure. And I think, you know, if we see Missing maintain this lead, then it's really going to kind of be on, you know, with what looks to be, I believe Shark is not too far on a discrepancy here either. So, you know, we'll get the totals once we get into chapter 14. We should have a really good read on what the prediction is. And at that point, we'll just have to see how it plays out, but I'm thinking right now we may see Missing at least go up into second place, and depending on where Blanks goes at the end of the day today, we could potentially see Missing actually overtake all the way up to first place, but it really is going to depend. I would say that this entire tournament really does kind of hinge on Blanks right now, because Blanks has a pretty healthy lead of 200 points, roughly, on Missing right now, but it's just under 200. So that means that if he moves down into fourth place, he's going to give up those 200 points to Missing if Missing comes out into first place, which puts Missing in first place and then potentially moves Blanks down to second or third place, depending on how Joydern lands. So we definitely have a very interesting scenario on our hands here where Blanks is kind of the deciding factor. Like, everything is kind of revolving around how Blanks does in this competition regarding a lot of this movement.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Blanks, coming up to this turret section, he already did it, but unfortunately, when you throw a grenade in order to get one of the enemies to fall into the laser path, and that'll allow you to go past the laser because it's shooting the enemy and not you. However, he threw the grenade and it didn't move the enemy into the spot that he wanted, so he did need to reset, and I think that lost him about a minute, unfortunately. Joydern coming up on the same section, but I think that was his first try and did it smoothly, so that might be the difference to get ahead of Blanks at this part.
For sure, and Blanks
though,
just
with a clean second try. Nice.
Yeah, great try there on the second one by Blanks. So we're gonna have to see. It looks like Joydern makes it through pretty well, and Fraggle not far behind either, looking to approach that section for the first time here. Meanwhile, we have Missing actually going into chapter 14 now, and with the CQBR and the infrared scope now able to execute the chapter 14 skip, arguably the most significant skip in the entire game, as it does skip about 10 minutes or so of the game. So, you know, similar to what we would normally be able to do on the chapter, I guess that's the chapter 7 Garrador skip, but in this particular case, it saves so much more time because you don't even have to go into that factory on Missing's left side there. You just clip right through this gate here, and you are on the other side of where you would normally have to do that whole waiting for the crane thing, which nobody has time for that. So here we are.
Yeah, I'm sure speedrunners were ecstatic when this was discovered, because you skipped the crane section with Ashley, which I think would be one of the more volatile parts of the run if they did have to do it. They skipped the whole factory part. So yeah, saving 10 minutes in the run, which is already pretty, like, this run is, especially the no merchant, I think, what's the world record at? Like 220 or something like that, but it's a long enough run. Like, it's over 2 hours, and it's really significant to knock off 10 minutes, especially on the island part when everything's a lot more difficult.
Indeed. And it is time for our G Fuel break, so we're going to send Sneevil off to relax for a moment, and I am going to check in with you guys and talk to you, of course, about G Fuel. Thank you again so much to G Fuel for sponsoring today's stream. Not just the stream, but the entire tournament and the channel. All of the support on G Fuel's side has been greatly, greatly appreciated. And if you guys haven't had a chance to head on over to gfuel.com and pick up a tub for yourself, please do so. We have a ton of amazing flavors here, which I've been showcasing all throughout the day. I did bring down the collection that I had upstairs as well that my fiance likes to enjoy. She doesn't know about it, so don't tell her that I snuck it down here, chat. Okay, but we do have the Yuzu Slash on the hydration line, which is a sort of a mild citrusy flavor. So if you like citrus but you don't like the punch in your face type citrus, Yuzu Slash is definitely a great option, as it kind of hits more on the back of the throat. And again, this is hydration, so rather than it being loaded with caffeine, which I personally like caffeine, not everybody does, but if you don't prefer caffeine, this is 0 calories and 0 sugar and 0 caffeine. So you still get to have an amazing flavor with, you know, cutting all of the fluff out of it. So definitely a great option there. We also have the grape lemonade. So we've talked at length about how I think the lemonade flavors are just really good ways to start with G Fuel, because of the, like, everybody's had lemonade from a tub before, I think. And I think so that sort of familiar flavor profile combined with everything that's packed in to help you focus with G Fuel, I think is a really, really great starting point. So if you guys like straight up lemonade, they do have just a straight lemonade flavor. This one in particular is grape lemonade. They also have the hype sauce, which is a raspberry lemonade. And they also have, on the hydration side, they actually do have this one with caffeine as well. The Shiny Splash is a blueberry lemonade. So pretty much all around, there's a ton of different really vibrant flavor combinations. But if you prefer the simpler flavors, they definitely have simpler options as well, like we talked about with the blue ice. I like the more complex flavors, so the vast majority of my collection is that. But we do have blue ice, which is blue raspberry. They also do have, as I mentioned earlier, like that straight up lemonade flavor. They do have they have watermelon, and they have a couple of other options as well. So definitely head on over to gfuel.com, check out what they have to offer. If you see something you like, put in that order, and don't forget to use code Haze for up to 30% off at checkout. Thank you so much to G Fuel for sponsoring the tournament. Greatly appreciated there. We're going to get back into the runs here, but we're going to run some ads for about 90 seconds, and then Sneevil and I are going to come back, and we're going to start making some predictions on where we think this is going to go and who we think our winners might be. So we'll see you in about 90 seconds, guys. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Hazeblade Invitational, powered by G Fuel. I'm Hazeblade, and I am joined by the incredibly talented Sneevil, fellow RE speedrunner extraordinaire. And we're here to do a quick bit, because we do have some pretty vital sections of the run coming up, so we're going to really quickly go through this. But I wanted to get your thoughts a little bit on who you think is going to win this thing.
So I'm not sure about the final leaderboard, but I do think Missing has a really good shot. I honestly think Missing's gonna win this race in particular. I don't see Missing losing 5 minutes of time somewhere unless something goes extremely wrong. He's a super talented runner. Has the record for New Game Pro, so I think just his experience coming into this really is playing a big factor. Probably has like 1,000 hours in the game already, even though it already only came out a few months ago. Like, that's just what speedrunners do, though. They grind, and you can tell Missing No has grinded a lot. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. And we're gonna cut right back into the content, you guys, but make sure you guys head over to the prize pool contribution page, !prize in chat. Let's get this prize pool up to $1,500, guys. That's only $100 to go. If everybody that is watching right now puts $1 into the prize pool, that gets us well over $1,500. So please, guys, take an opportunity to go over there and just throw a few dollars in if you can. If not, that's perfectly okay, but let's see if we can make it to $1,500. Let's get back into the action, that we are coming up on the regenerator section, or rather we are kind of in the thick of the regenerator section for a handful of our runners here, actually. It's like we have Blanks going into the hallway. He just put in the key card while he's waiting for that to be done, and Fregelhausen is actually on his way into the incubation tank room.
Yeah, this room's a lot more difficult than when you can use the merchant because, well, wait, normally, actually, I'm kind of curious here what Blanks is doing because he does have the scope. And I feel like he would be able to do the out of bounds here. And I'm not sure why he hasn't. Can you think of a reason why he might not have done the out of bounds right away?
It depends. Sometimes people prefer to loot the rooms and like set enemies up in a certain way or kill the dynamites. It really depends on what that runner is comfortable with.
Yeah, it looks like he knew what he was doing though, able to get out of there cleanly. I think he was maybe trying to get the enemies in a certain position, maybe getting rid of those dynamite guys like you said, because sometimes you can get off of the wall and then just get exploded by a dynamite. So I think it is a good idea to play it safe at this point because you don't want to be losing more time. Like it's okay to lose like 10 seconds as opposed to dying and going back a couple of minutes. So I think everyone's playing it a bit more safe, maybe.
Yeah, and I think we haven't checked in on Shark in a while, but it does look like Shark and Missing are both working on their Krauser sections right now, and Shark seemingly we can tell that there's a bit of a gap there between Missing and Shark, considering the higher timer value that we're seeing on Shark's end. But and then in addition to Missing being further ahead and with a lower timer. So, we do still have Missing quite a ways in the lead. And again, I think that prediction is absolutely on point, that if things continue down the path that they are in right now, we could very well see Missing win this thing. But I will say that this is a very crucial part of the run for Missing, because a death here would be minutes of time loss. So we really, really don't want to see Missing giving up any quarter here, because if he does, then we are potentially looking at a situation where Missing could actually give up the lead here. But I don't think that that's going to happen, and we can tell that he is kind of taking his time here, looking through, just trying to figure out what the best options are to avoid Krauser's attacks. And really, you can tell he's not in a hurry to kill this boss.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he knows how far ahead he is. I think he knows his run has been pretty solid so far. So maybe he feels a bit, well, we did see his strategy with the Verdugo fight where he's more like, okay, I'm just going to do everything in my power to do it the first try. So I think even if things do go a little bit wrong, he's more the type to keep going as opposed to resetting. There's pros and cons to both approaches, but if it seems to be working for Missing No so far. And I think as long as he doesn't take like multiple deaths here, he should be fine compared to the other runners.
Indeed, and he is getting relatively close to a kill here. He's got Krauser down to about 30% health, and he's about to continue to work towards that. And the trick to this fight is really to just pause buffer shoot him, because you can get a lot of hits off, and every headshot with the CQBR is 3% roughly of his health. So if you just kind of do what he's doing right now, where he's just sort of kiting Krauser around and just getting a few headshots at a time, the fight itself is really not overly complicated, so he should be able to wrap things up right here. But he is running very low on rifle rounds, so it looks like he is going to try to opt in for a bit of a safer strat here before the end. And he does get knocked off the ladder, but not a big deal. He's going to throw the nade, and that does get the job done. What a recovery there from Missing, considering that we did have couple of close calls there in the midsection of the run, but really nothing that Missing hasn't been able to handle.
Yeah, over the last couple days, we've really seen the runner's ability to just adapt to different situations that they're not used to, especially with the bingo, where they had to do things that they would never have to do in a speed run. But I think really what I've learned from this competition is just how well these speedrunners are able to adapt, even if they've never done it before, you know? Like, they look at it once, they're like, okay, this is what I do, maybe practice it one time, and then they're able to do it in a marathon setting, which is pretty impressive.
Indeed, and we do have Missing moving on to Chapter 15, looking to close out this run very soon. And we do have a couple of people entering the later chapters as well. We do have Fraggle in Chapter 14, Shark in Chapter 14, and Blanks, I believe, right around the corner from Chapter... Actually, no, he's in 14 as well. And so, you know, we are coming up towards the end of the run. I don't think that any of these runners have really faced anything that they can't handle. You know, again, you know, this was the qualifier for this tournament, was to be able to perform a no merchant pro route, and I think we can definitely see the difference between the first 2 days and today, based on the fact that in day 1 and day 2 the runners only had about a day to prepare themselves for the challenges that were associated with those given days. But this is a whole different ball game that we're playing on day 3, because these runners have had weeks to prepare these routes, and you can really tell the level of preparation that has existed over these last 2 weeks, getting these runners ready for especially this end game here.
Yeah, I think it's really making the difference just how many hours each person has in this particular run. The more you practice, obviously, the more you know, the more knowledge you have going into the run, the more you're able to deal with situations you don't normally deal with. But yeah, I'm wondering how much everyone practiced. I'm assuming a lot. Like, you had to practice a lot just to do a no merchant run at all. But yeah, I really think the amount of practice they put in behind the scenes is going to make a big difference today.
For sure. And, you know, we do have Missing coming up into one of the, like, I would say between here and the end of the run, this is some of the more toxic gameplay that we're going to see for the remainder of Missing's run here. We do have a lot of enemies around, and again, with it being no merchant, we are dealing with a lot more limited supplies than we would normally have compared to the any % new game pro route. But fortunately, because health is a lot more abundant in this category, you can kind of, similar to what you would do with the Novisador section in Chapter 10, you can kind of brute force this section a little bit by taking a ton of health and then, you know, just trying to push your way through and heal whenever you take damage. But, you know, this beginning section here is pretty close to how it is on any % New Game Pro, but as you'll tell here, you know, we can't craft extra nades like we can in any %. So with this, we're going to have to kind of hope that all of the resources that Missing has in his inventory are able to be recovered in the event that something goes south. But he does have quite a few flash grenades here, so I don't expect anything horribly wrong to go here, but you know, we're kind of watching this situation unfold here. He does get grabbed, unfortunately, but not particularly uncommon in this situation. We may very well see a safety heal come out, and he actually does have a lot of health here, too. I think I saw 3 or 4 full heals in his inventory, so again, we should be able to see a brute force here. Fortunately, narrowly avoiding that rocket, which could have been a red mist situation, but very lucky there with the iframes, you know, being able to dodge that. But he is starting to deprive himself of heals now, so we're just going to have to see how that unfolds in the back half of this room. We're going to zoom in actually on Missing for the remainder of this section, just so we can kind of, you know, get a peek here at how we're looking. Oh no, unfortunately
dear.
The death setting him back literal minutes, because there is no save here. He goes back to the beginning of the chapter.
Oh no! Oh right. So
that
the
entire lead
Oh,
just
my goodness.
vanishes now, and he is back to the beginning of Chapter 15. This is the worst possible outcome for Missing in this situation, to have unfortunate circumstances unfold and possibly giving up the first place, depending on how everyone else's run goes here. This is a pivotal moment happening here, live. We're doing it live here. It's happening. Wow.
I am very, well, because the thing is, there's no autosaves. So for a long chapter like this, there's no option but to just hope you don't die. And unfortunately for Missing No, like that last section, right after, like if he was able to get out of that room, there's a typewriter right there. But unfortunately, the minigun was able to reactivate and shoot him, and he didn't have very much health. Very unfortunate situation for Missing No. But if he's able to recover this, I think he still has a good enough lead to maintain the first place position, but any more mistakes will really be jeopardizing that. So yeah, anything can
Absolutely.
change.
I think
really
that
crazy.
this has just been a huge turn of events here, just as this has sort of developed, and we're now just kind of panning through the other runners, just seeing where everyone's at, and it is actually looking at Fregelhausen's timer. Things are really close here between all four of the other runners, really. I would say that there's probably less than a minute between everyone now, and with Missing giving up about 4 minutes there, it looks like, that 5-minute lead has now come down to about a minute lead now, to where Missing really cannot afford any more mistakes here for the rest of the run.
Yeah, I'm sure Missing No knows like how much time lost that was. It's kind of devastating, honestly. I hope it doesn't affect him too much, because I know like losing time, it hurts. We have to remember the mental like fortitude of these runners has to be really strong to deal with these losses. Like normally, if you're running and trying to get a personal best, as soon as you make a huge mistake, you're able to restart your run and then start fresh. But this, you got to truck through whatever's thrown at you. There's no giving up here. You got to finish no matter what. So Missing No's really got to depend on doing this section clean, or else I'm not sure if they're going to be able to maintain the lead.
Indeed, and the stakes as they continue to increase, our prize pool now being at $1,400. Guys, we are coming up on the end game for all of these runs now, and the time is running out to contribute to the prize pool. I would like everyone who has the opportunity to do so, !prize in the chat. Let's see if we can't get some kind of a $5 train going, to where maybe we can get that prize pool up to $1,500 before this is over. Guys, that's 20 people doing $5. Let's see if we can get there. I would love to see $1,500 going out to these runners. And again, Sneevil and I are not taking a cut of that at all. That is going straight up to the top 3 that place in this tournament. So first place getting 50%, second place getting 30%, and third place getting 20% of that prize pool. That means that in first place, you'd be getting a $700 payout. Second place, that's going to be it looks like a $420 payout, and then a $280 payout for the third place runner. So definitely a really good situation to be in if you are if you're in one of those top 3 situations. But we would love to get some more contributions. You guys head on over to the Matcherino page. Let's see if we can get a $5 train going and get that number up to $1,500. We do have Fraggle working on the Krauser fight here.
Yeah, a lot going on.
A lot of
right
Krauser
now.
fights, actually. We've got
Yep.
Fraggle and Blanks both on Krauser. Shark working through the beginning of Chapter 15 here, while Missing did make it through this time and is now setting up the duffel bag. And I wanted to pan over to Joydern very quickly and see how Joydern was doing here. It looks like Joydern is also in the thick of Chapter 15 here. And so really just a lot of movement going on right now here as we reach the apex in the sort of the climactic section of the island. But unfortunately,
Shark with the death, yep.
Not able to maintain that. And so Shark is likely going to be giving up his placing with where we're at now. A similar situation happening to Missing not very long ago. So now we have our top 2 runners here. Okay, the $5 trains are rolling in. We are up to 1420. Do we have any messages to read here, Sneevil?
Yeah, so we have one $5 contribution from Bryce Carter. Thank you very much, Bryce. Saying, Jom Dog 3-head. Wow.
Nice.
I learned so much. I think that was supposed to be an emote. Thank you so much, Bryce, for the $5 contribution towards the prize pool. We have I Am Just Me with a $5 contribution. No comment, but thank you so much, I Am Just Me, for the $5. We have Toxie Smile with a $10 contribution, saying, amazing event, gotta contribute to make these runners happy, even if it's not that much. Honestly, $10 is sizable, so thanks to you so much for adding to the prize pool. And we have one last $10 contribution from big old Dave Dude, with the message saying, let's get it to 1,500. And I agree, big old Dave dude, I'd love to see it hit 1,500. Thank you to everyone who just contributed. Thank you for everyone who's contributed just throughout the entire event. And thank you to everyone in the chat who's been watching and chatting along and just seeing these events unfold.
Absolutely. We're only $70 away from $1,500 on the prize pool. Guys, get those contributions in. We are running out of time. Everybody is in the end game here, so we're likely going to see within these next 20 minutes or so the vast majority of these runs come to a close, which means that the prize pool window is also going to come to a close at the end of the stream. So guys, get those contributions in. We're only $70 away. $5, $10, $25, whatever you guys can spare is greatly appreciated. Missing, narrowly avoiding the rocket launcher there, but able to get through, and it looks like we are going to see Missing reaching chapter 16 and ultimately wrapping up his run. Likely still well ahead of the pack here by about a minute or so, I think. Well, maybe even more than that now that Shark had to deal with that unfortunate death. So really going to be interesting to see where the final standings are here, but we do still have Missing ahead of the pack here. It does look like Joydern and Blanks are both in relatively similar spots here, but Joydern maybe just a little bit ahead of Blanks. So really going to be imperative here over these next few minutes here to see how things play out and what the standings look like. And as I mentioned earlier, Blanks really kind of the pivotal player here in this in the final standings, because that's really going to determine where all of this movement comes from, is going to be depending on whether he makes it into the top 3 or not.
Yeah, and we did just get another $5 contribution from Scotty Two Socks. Well, thank you, Scotty, saying, let us go. Thank you very much for the contribution, Scotty. And also, just another thing I want to talk about is yesterday we had a little bit of trouble with Blanks trying to get the DA0 for Sadler, and I'm wondering if he's practiced it a lot, like offline or last night, because I'm hoping
Shark
he doesn't have that.
Oh
no!
Death. The worst case scenario for Shark.
That's
ending
so
up
painful.
Just not able to recover from that death at 2 hours and 11 minutes, going back once again to the beginning of chapter 15. An absolutely catastrophic and devastating blow, likely taking him out of the running of this tournament. I think this is probably the defining moment here, where Shark not able to maintain being in any kind of a leadership position here behind Missing, and unfortunately that is probably going to take him out of this tournament.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for Shark, especially dying. Like, if you die near the beginning, it's not nearly as punishing, but the dangerous part, of course, has to be near the end. And I know Shark's probably feeling it right now, feeling the pressure, dying twice at one of the worst sections, honestly, to die. And honestly, though, if we really need to see if Blanks gets through here, because if he does die, Fraggle can easily pull ahead. But yeah, I'm curious how Blanks will be dealing with the DA0 for Sadler, and I'm hoping he'll be able to get it right away, because if it takes him as long as last time, he might lose a lot of time near the end of the run just trying to set up the DA0 skip.
Yeah, and Blanks coming up on a really rough setup here, trying to get through, narrowly avoiding the dodge there. What a great play by Blanks with a really unfortunate setup, still squeezing through by the skin of his teeth. Legendary moment there in this tournament, where, again, we've talked about this. Blanks really the pivotal player here, who had he taken a death there would have likely ended up in the lower echelon of this, but still managed to scrape through with a beautiful recovery there at the tail end of the rocket launcher and pulling the lever section there. Just incredible execution there by Blanks.
Yeah, that was really good, and I think that's going to be making the difference for Blanks, just the fact that he made it through clean. A lot of the other runners with the deaths there, putting them minutes behind, like, that's really good. I'm really happy for Blanks. Like, his performance today has been awesome. Started a little bit behind, but that did not, like, he didn't let it get to his head or anything like that. And now he's, I can't really tell who's in second, to be honest, behind Missing, but I think Blanks has a good opportunity to go for that second place.
Yeah, I think it does appear that Joydern is in second place here, and I believe that looking at the standings here, it is a bit hard to tell with Fraggle still being a ways behind, but I do think that the predictions are coming in that for the tournament or for the day 3 no merchant standings, it is looking like Missing is going to be first place, and I think we'll probably see Joydern followed by Blanks, then Fragglehausen, then Shark likely from the speedrun side of things, just depending on what happens between now and the end of the run. If that is the case and Blanks clutches a top 3 situation, that will make Blanks the winner of this tournament.
Yeah, Blank's really in a good position after day 2. Missing, though, having a little bit of trouble on the final fight. Sadler jumped away before he was able to get the kill. I don't think Missing, hopefully he doesn't have too much trouble on this fight, but if he does get stuck, like, who knows, people have an opportunity to catch up. It's not an easy fight by any means.
Definitely not, and it does look like Missing is looking to wrap up that Sadler fight. A beautiful phase
Very
1
nice.
there without too many issues, and now it's kind of just the survival and the holdout phase here. And we are going to be coming up on this G Fuel integration here, but I do want to make sure that we catch the end of Missing's run. So we're going to go ahead and transition to that now. We'll give Sneevil a quick break here so that we can be back in time for Missing to finish up the run. So guys, this will probably be our last G Fuel integration before the G Fuel play of the day. So let's quickly just cover what we need to cover here. And first and foremost, thank you so much to G Fuel for sponsoring this tournament and just doing such an incredible amount of support for the stream that allows us to do what you guys are seeing here on the stream today. And so definitely, guys, if you haven't had a chance to do so, head on over to gfuel.com and use code Haze for up to 30% off when you get to checkout. There's a ton of amazing flavors on there that you guys can check out, whether you prefer more complex flavors or you have a simpler palate. There is something for everybody, and I think it goes without saying, to wrap up our final integration, I just want to showcase Snow Cone one last time and let you guys know that that one is my all-time favorite, and if you stick around the G Fuel fam for long enough, you're going to find your all-time favorite too as you continue to experiment with different flavors and find the ones that you like. Think about the things that you guys enjoy, just from a day-to-day basis with your beverage choices, and I can guarantee that you'll find something on G Fuel's website that will accommodate your flavor profile. So once you find that, you can sort of expand the horizons and try some of the newer flavors and really get on board with a lot of the great things that G Fuel has going on. So again, head on over there if you haven't done so, gfuel.com, use code Haze at checkout for that discount. And again, thank you so much to G Fuel for sponsoring this tournament. I'm so honored to be a part of that community and to be able to do this tournament. And I'm on cloud 9, you guys, and it's been very humbling, and I'm so thrilled to do and be able to put these events together, and I couldn't do that without G Fuel. So thank you guys so much. Guys, I'm going to run one final set of Twitch ads here before we wrap up Missing's run here. We are coming right up on the end of the of his run, so I'm going to run those really quickly, guys, and we'll come back and we're going to start seeing all these runners finish their times, and we're going to find out who your champions are. So we'll be back here soon.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm back. And looks like Missing, as long as he doesn't crash his jet ski, I think he's fine. I mean, I don't expect any of these runners to crash their jet ski. I'd be really, really sad for them. But Missing's done this part like so many times. It's the same every time, so I don't expect any jet ski crashes. But excited to see Missing No's final time. Honestly, it's looking like it might be under 2:16, which is a real, that's amazing for a marathon setting. That is amazing, and no merchant is so hard. Like, what a phenomenal time. But yeah, coming up on GG for Missing No. And we got Shark about to do duffel bag skip. He did get the skip. And also Fraggle still dealing with the regenerators. Not too far behind though. And remember, it does all come down to the final IGT. It doesn't necessarily matter who you see finish first. It all depends on that final in-game time. And now we have Missing No, our first finisher. I'm assuming will be our first place finisher as well, with a time of 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 58 seconds. Can we get some GGs in the chat? And good job to Missing No for such a phenomenal and clean run. Only a couple of deaths. He died during the double Gigantes. Had a little bit of trouble with Verdugo, died during the island, which did set him back quite a few minutes, but not enough time for everyone else to catch up. So really now we're looking for who's going to be taking that second place and securing the second most points from this round. And it does all come down to what the leaderboard is from the first 2 days and how the points from today will affect the leaderboard. So honestly, even with Missing No finishing in first, I have no idea where he will land on the leaderboard. I'm assuming he might go up a bit, but we'll just have to see how the rest of the runners play out. It does really depend on Blanks right now because he is in the lead after day 2. So we are kind of depending on Blanks, maybe finishing in the bottom half in order for Missing No to move up as much as he wants to in the top 3. Yeah, everyone coming up on the later part, or pretty much the end of the run. There's really not much left. We have Joydern setting up his DA0 for Sadler. Basically, we do the glitch for DA0, which is difficulty adjustment. We trick the game into thinking that like all the enemies are super easy to kill, like they don't have much health and stuff like that. But yeah, if you don't get that skip, it's very, very hard to kill Sadler. So the DA0 glitch, every runner is kind of depending on it. Depending on their luck and what their values are for their DA, it might take some runners longer, it might take some runners shorter to set this up. So that could also be the difference between who lands in second and who lands in third and fourth and fifth and so on. But yeah, great performance from Missing. We have Blanks and Joydern both at the end, setting up the DA0. We have Fraggle, unfortunately did not get the duffel bag glitch, and has to carry Ashley super slowly. I think this actually loses like 30 to 40 seconds, so that is quite unfortunate for Fraggle. I'm wondering if those 30 or 40 seconds will actually be the difference that he needs to move up in the leaderboards. Shark coming up to the DA0 as well, so pretty much everyone except for Fraggle is working on getting that DA0 glitch to work. And, yeah. No. Yes. Yeah, I'm hearing news though that Joydern may be missing a heavy grenade. Do you want to talk about the significance of that?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a situation where, sorry, I was muted, chat. I forgot to, I was eating a snack. I'm sorry. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So, Shark and that whole situation, losing time earlier, he's still kind of in a lead here. But what we've seen with Blanks these last couple days is just really struggling with the DA0 setups. And so this is really, we've talked about Blanks being in a pivotal position here. It really is going to come down to setting up this DA0, and it's ultimately going to determine what the standings are on today. And I can tell Blanks is already really stressing out here, similar to yesterday, thinking about what he's got to do. And again, guys, we are $65 away from 1,500. If we can get some more contributions on the Matcherino page, I would love to see this hit $1,500 before the tournament ends. So please, guys, if you haven't had a chance, exclamation point prize in the chat, click that link and head on over to the Matcherino page. If everybody just does $1 right now, we can cross and far surpass that $1,500 goal. So please, guys, head on over there. If you can spare a few dollars, a cup of coffee's worth of change for contribution money, that'll get us over that $1,500 line, and ultimately more money for the runners that are winning this tournament.
Yeah, Shark coming up on the end, but I do notice that Shark's timer, I think, is like, I see Joydern at 2:15, I see Blanks at 2:19, and Shark is at 2:22, so I'm really not sure how the in-game times will be at the end. It's kind of hard to tell because it looks like Shark is far ahead of Joydern and Blanks right now and Fraggle, but in reality, his timer is quite a little bit more than theirs. So really looking forward to seeing everyone's final in-game time and just who's going to be second, really.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, again, like we've got a pretty clear read on the situation here with Missing. So, you know, of course, Missing coming in at a 2:15:58, and Shark on his way to wrap up the scenario here. Looking like it'll be probably 2:23 and change. So that really, you know, with Shark likely ending in last place from what we can predict here, that really kind of is now up to the rest of this. Looks like Blanks was able to figure out his DA0 situation. So again, that's looking really good for him on the timing side. It's really going to just depend on what Fregelhausen does, but unfortunately he's not able to get the setup there on the first try, so he's going to have to try again. But I think he's really going to be competing here with Fregelhausen for that third place spot, and if he's able to beat out Fregelhausen, then he'll still end up being in first place at the end of this when the leaderboard is done.
Yeah, and sorry, I just want to point out something hilarious is Fregel, if you look at his webcam, there's like math, like an overlay, and that's all. that describes this section so well.
Reminds me of The Hangover when they go to the casino.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great overlay, because basically what they're doing in order to set up this glitch is just math. Like, stay in school, kids. You need to know how to do math so you can speed run. Like, you don't think you need math. You're like, why do I need to learn, like, fractions? You need to learn it because speed run, and that's why. Really pays off.
So we do have a GG for Shark at a 2:23:55.
Sorry, I missed that Shark. Great job. GG! I'm really curious, though, how the in-game time is going to be. So we have 2:23:55. Right now, Blanks is looking like they're 2:21. So if they're able to finish off the fight right now, there's a chance they're able to slide into that second place. Joydern, though, I don't think has a heavy grenade. They have a regular grenade, though, but I'm not sure if they'll be able to do this strat without the grenade. That might just be RNG, honestly, just not being in his favor, not giving him that heavy grenade drop that he needs. And honestly, that could mean his I don't want to say demise, because that sounds terrible, but I can't think of a different word. But yeah, it's not very good for Joydern right now, kind of worried.
Yeah, still 3 runners yet to finish their runs, and you know, Joydern with a pretty commanding lead over the other 2 right now, but
yeah,
you know, that
like
could change.
2:15, yeah.
That could change in a heartbeat if he's not able to get the necessary ingredients to set up DA0 here. That could put him in a world of trouble, because you really do need to consider your options when you get into this sort of low phase here. But Fregel is looking to take potentially that second place spot. We do have you know, with Shark being at a 2:23:55, I think Fregel should pretty easily be able to beat that time with where he's at now, provided that he doesn't crash the jet ski. So it's really going to be close here to figure out between, you know, we have Blanks now coming in. I don't know that Blanks will be able to beat out Fregel unless Fregel crashes the jet ski. So it's really going to be on Joydern now to try to figure out this situation, because if Blanks ends up in 4th place, it's probably going to bump him down to 2nd on the overall leaderboard, which is going to make Missing the winner.
Yeah, it's kind of looking that way, honestly. Yeah, right now it looks like Fregel's definitely going for that 2nd right now. What was Shark's final time again?
Shark had a 2:23:55.
2:23:55. All right. I don't know, how long does the jet ski take? Do you know?
I want to say it's just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So from the time that you are descending down the elevator. So
right.
You know, in Fregel's case, he should be wrapped up within a minute or so. So he'll definitely beat Shark's time as long as he doesn't crash the jet ski.
Yeah,
and
that's something I don't want to see. Like, I like chaos, but I'm not that mean.
True.
I feel like that would just be cruel to hope for someone to crash their jet ski, but it is possible.
It has happened before, so
yeah,
it's
I've seen
definitely
7 or
happened
AD
before.
do it. Like, yeah, it's very painful. Especially, it's the last thing you do, and it's supposed to theoretically be easy, but everyone makes mistakes. You know, everyone has those days, and Sometimes it's just not good.
Indeed, and you know this is not over for Blanks because Joydern is really struggling to work out the math on the DA situation, and if he ends up spending any more than a few more minutes trying to work out these numbers, then he will end up giving up his place, which would put Blanks in 3rd place, which is enough to win this.
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of bad for Joydern right now because doesn't have, so I think what is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Joydern right now is trying to reload and get a heavy nade drop.
Yeah, he's farming to try to get the right numbers.
Yeah. Oh, and Fraggle, we have another GG! Congratulations, Fraggle, with a time of 2:23:03, if I'm reading that right. And then Blanks coming up on the GG as well. I'd love to see how these times compare. And we have Blanks finishing with a 2:24:51. Very interesting. Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So he did end up placing behind Shark.
Yep. Yeah, this is going to definitely change up the leaderboard.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see some movement on this leaderboard for sure.
Yeah. I'm really praying for Joydern right now. Should we get some prayer emotes in the chat for Joydern? Because I think they really need it. Blanks had that problem yesterday. Blanks didn't seem to have a problem with the DA0, but now it's Joydern's turn, apparently, because this game likes to be mean to at least one person.
Indeed, and you guys, there is still time to contribute to the prize pool here. We have probably in the next few minutes here, hopefully we'll see Joydern getting his DA0 set up and able to continue along that path there. So guys, get those contributions in if you haven't already. We are $65 away from 1,500, and I would love to see us hit $1,500 before the end of the tournament. It looks like Joydern, he may have the supplies at this point to go ahead and execute DA0. He does have the score, so we're going to take a look now and see if he is able
to get it. This is really going to make the difference.
He does get it. He does get the setup, so he is going to hope here that he can get the setup first try, which it looks like he is going to get the runaway setup here from Sadler, which it's not looking good, and he is likely going to have to reload the save. But that said, he does have the infinite nade glitch still, so there is a chance here that he could end up he could end up losing enough time here to end up losing a placing here, but it really is going to depend on what these last few minutes look like for Joydern.
Yeah, so oh dear.
And unfortunately,
that was unfortunate.
Taking the hit there, just not a good situation for Joydern. Just, you know, this is one of those rough spots at the end of a run where, you know, you're looking at Sadler's HP and he's still at 30%, and you've got to make a tough call here, because if you're Joydern, you don't want to have to farm that nade again, and I don't think he saved before getting the setup on it. So
no.
It's possible that the reason we haven't seen him reload the save yet is actually because of the fact that he is so low on supplies here that you know, he's really going to be struggling to try to make up the difference on that. So really not looking good here for Joydern. And you know what, otherwise, and there's the decapitation going back. Going back to the beginning of the fight there is just really unfortunate there. And, you know, now we're seeing those seconds and really the minutes here slip away from Joydern, and he does lose the DA0 setup from the looks of it. So he's really going to be in a tight spot. And he just doesn't have the points to be able to wrap this up. And I think that he may actually concede, because I think he's soft locked. I think he's run out of luck.
Wow, that's very unfortunate. And had a really good run too. Like, oh, it sucks how it all comes down to this one moment that makes or breaks your run. And unfortunately for Joydern, it did break his run. Like, it looks like he might have another idea. I really do want to see Joydern finish this. Like, it would really suck if
Oh, he was able to load the save again and get his DA score back, so that's good. It doesn't revert the IGT to do that, so
okay, excellent.
That is allowed under the rules. You're only not allowed to load a save if it reverts your IGT, so he'll be able to try again. But yeah, unfortunately, that's the one thing about this DA0 setup is that it's a consistent setup as long as you allow yourself to have supplies to work with by the end of the run. And so, you know, it can definitely be one of those highly volatile situations, but he is possibly going to have to do it again here depending on what happens. And it did look like he saved after farming, so if it does happen again, he should be okay. But the question here is whether or not he's going to have to deal with Sadler jumping away yet again, which is just...
Yeah, because he doesn't have the heavy nade, so I don't think he's able to deal enough damage.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he, I think he ended up not having, I believe he's using regular nades here now. So
yeah,
unfortunately, this is a really rough spot for Joydern because his only real options here are to either try and figure out how to get another heavy nade or to either maybe consider a concession here and then end up taking minimal points. I think what happened is he used an extra heavy nade by the end of the run, so he just didn't have enough nades. And unfortunately, with the way heavy nade drops work in this, you have to get all of those heavy nades during the Verdugo fight by manipulating your inventory with banking your weapons. And I'm wondering if he either made the call or maybe just forgot to bank those weapons and he didn't get enough heavy nades is what seems to be the case.
Yeah, the heavy nades are really important for this run. Like, you need one for the turret and you need pretty much one for this fight, and if you don't have it, I mean, there's not really much you can do in this situation. And I think Joydern's kind of realizing that his options are very limited right now, but really proud of Joydern for sticking it out and really trying to finish this run. Okay, I was curious what he was doing there. I was wondering if he was going to try a different strategy, but yeah, really hoping Joydern can do this. Hopefully he has the luck of Yoshi, you know, gives him some good luck, and yeah, just praying, honestly.
Yeah, I think at this point, Joydern would have a really hard time getting to continue to maintain his placing here because we are looking at the timers now and seeing that he is approaching that 2 hour and 20 minute mark. So with that, you know, you need a few minutes from the time that you defeat the first phase of Krauser in order to escape via the jet ski. So with that, I mean, we're already looking right now, his best possible time would probably be sitting somewhere around a 2:23. So if he's able to somehow figure something out here with how things work, it looks like he actually made a mistake and he accidentally threw a heavy nade to get decimals instead of getting hit by an enemy, and that's why this whole situation has transpired, is that he would have had that heavy nade had it not been for trying to set up those decimals alternatively. So I think what we're going to see here is we're probably going to see Joydern. I would fully expect a concession here relatively soon because I don't see within a couple of minutes here him being able to rack up the items and the damage to reset up DA0 with a heavy nade, and there's just not the drops around, unfortunately. He would have to backtrack to the beginning of the chapter, and at that point I just don't see it happening. So I do fully expect here a concession probably coming out of Joydern here any moment to unfortunately put him in the final standing for fifth place for the no merchant day, but ultimately we'll have to calculate the points here and see exactly how he lands in comparison to the other runners with the final totals.
Yeah, I'm just kind of sad for Joydern. I know everyone's practiced so much for this competition, like it's a big deal, you know what I mean? Like, practicing for weeks and stuff, and just it sucks to see things not work out for everyone. I mean, it's not going to work out for everyone. Not everyone can get first place, obviously. But yeah, just wishing for some good luck for Joydern. It would be nice for them to be able to finish the run, but I'm really not sure, just with the situation they're in, if they'll be able to.
Yeah, I think where he's at now at this point is, you know, the step one is getting the heavy nade, and then after getting the heavy nade, you still have to reset up DA0 within an extremely limited window. And unfortunately, it's really sad to see that, you know, who would have finished in second place today now potentially ending up out of the money in a situation where he's going to end up taking last, you know, essentially fifth place by not being able to finish the run.
Yeah. And I'm sure Joydern's realizing at this point, like, there's not much he can do.
Yeah, at this stage, there's not really much that you can do, given that, you know, you're at the mercy of that crate there dropping a grenade, and even when you drop the grenade again, you have to get the grenade, and then he's going to have to manipulate his inventory in the middle of the fight to try to get that DA0, which is just really not ideal. And it's one of the reasons why initially I didn't want to allow DA0 for this tournament, was because of just the volatility of it. But we did do quite a bit of labbing on it to determine that it is very consistent to have the inventory to set it up. The issue for Joydern is that he made a mistake by throwing the grenade instead of taking damage from the Novi to get the decimals, and you really don't want to do that. And this is, quite frankly, a fatal mistake for Joydern, because had he just gone over to the Novis and taken the damage, he would have had the heavy nade, and he could have set this up without really any issues at all. But unfortunately, you know, he made the call, and where he ended up was just not being able to have the heavy nade, and it's just a highly unfortunate circumstance, but it is the nature of things. So we're hoping that maybe like he'll be able to get something together here, but yeah, it's going to be tough though. I mean, trying to do this with only regular nades, he's going to have to figure out a way to damagelessly get through this phase. And I would say his best bet is probably to throw grenades above his head and just keep throwing them into the air. And maybe that would be enough to just stun and possibly kill the Novis that are going to be on approach here relatively soon. And then maybe he'll be lucky enough to get to phase 2. I mean, it's definitely possible. I would say that, you know, doing the fight this way without the heavy nades is definitely doable. But it's going to be, he's going to have to be very careful here because of all of these Novis that are quickly going to result in this happening. And again, he just doesn't quite have the health to be able to get out of there in the right time.
Yeah, so when you get hit, it stops your infinite grenades, right?
Yeah, so when you get when you get hit or staggered or really anything, there's a couple of things that'll persist, but yeah, typically any kind of damage or stagger will take you out of it. So in order for him to get back in, what he could do is he could jump down and try to use one of the other barrels to get it again. But the problem is that he has no health. So taking damage is pretty much gonna put him in I haven't been checking on yeah, I haven't been checking on his health situation and didn't realize I don't believe he has any. Yeah, and
wow, yeah, that sucks.
He's also at half HP too, which is another yeah, so you know, definitely sad to see our second place, potentially second place finisher end up kind of just making a fatal mistake here at the end. It does happen sometimes though, just small oversights, but you know, this is where, like, practicing this section, I think you can tell, like, even Blanks, who has practiced this run extensively, you know, it's just, it all comes down into the practice and being able to execute flawlessly these sections. And you know, if it weren't for that fatal mistake of just throwing the heavy nade to get the decimals rather than the Novis, I think we would have been seeing a very different situation unfold here with Joydern, unfortunately. But I do think at this point we probably will go ahead and mercy kill the run after this attempt, just so that way we can get to the totals and wrap up for the day and announce our winners and everything, because we do have all of our other finishers here, and at this point it will not be possible for him to finish the run faster than Blanks, who is currently in 4th place. So I think at this point we're gonna go ahead and see what happens here. Yeah, he does get grabbed and loads the save. So we're gonna go ahead and mercy kill the run here, and I'll go ahead and hand it off to you, Sneevil, so that I can come out behind the scenes here in a minute and do our G Fuel play of the day, and then announce our winners. So Sneevil, if we could get you to kind of give us a quick recap of these last 3 days of events here, and just kind of give us a lowdown on overall what your thoughts were, and all of that jazz.
All right, so day 1 was pretty nuts. Honestly, I was so impressed by day 1. So if you're not familiar with what we did on day 1, we did bingo. and everyone got a different bingo card, slightly variated, but with like the same challenges on it. And I was so impressed. Like this entire time I've been so impressed with all of the competitors because they were only given the bingo card 24 hours before they had to do the challenge. So they had like no time to prepare. They had to route on the fly. And we had one person, I don't remember who it was, I think it might have been Missing No, actually completing 99% of the bingo card and only missing one bingo. So they literally did all of the challenges and only was missing, I think, the S plus challenge, which is honestly, I think was a smart one to skip because you're able to save more. In order to get S plus, you can only save, I think, 15 times. If you save 16 times, it's too many. You only get an S. But yeah, day one just surprised me by just how many bingos people got because I did not think anyone would get near absolutely filling the card. But yeah, day one was pretty strong, honestly. I was a little bit surprised that Shark didn't get any bonuses, but Shark was able to kind of catch up over day two and go up on that leaderboard and just get a lot more points. So day two was interesting, though. If you missed day two, it was who can collect the most money throughout the run, and we took the total of the amount of money they had on them, not like in your items or anything, like how much money you have in your wallet or in your pocket. And that really changed the leaderboards. The leaderboards from day one to day two completely flipped on its head because we did have some unfortunate situations for two of the runners. We had Fraggle, I believe, couldn't finish their run, and then we had Missing No, who had a power outage. So Missing No, like, who knows, if their power didn't go out, they could have been in first place leading into today, but due to unfortunate circumstances, they just weren't. I mean, what do you do when your power goes out? There's nothing you can prepare for, so that was just really unfortunate, and did put Missing, I think, into third place on the leaderboards going into today. But with that win from today's competition, who knows where Missing No will be at the end. It really depends on where everyone else placed. I'm really looking forward to that leaderboard. What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to win? I don't want to speculate too much, so I'm not going to say who I think is going to win, but who do you think is going to win? Who are you rooting for? Also, is there any like moments of today that just like blew your mind? Honestly, Missing No's Verdugo fight just like, whoa, that was nuts. He absolutely, like, Verdugo got out of the corner when he's throwing the grenades. He was able to adapt, and that was one of the most intense fights I've seen, to be honest. Also, Blanks did a really good job today. Blanks actually was in first coming into day 3. So I'm interested to see how Missing being in first. I don't remember which place Blanks is in today. I think it was maybe 3rd or 4th. But Blanks might not be in first after today, after the points are wrapped up. So I don't know. I don't want to say anything because I'm going to be wrong knowing me. Yeah, I'm also not good at math. So I'm like trying to add all the points in my head and I'm not good at math. Like this DA0 glitch that all the runners are doing, I don't think I could do it. I'm just not smart enough. But these runners are geniuses. Look at them doing it all on the fly. I've not seen anyone pull out a calculator, so that's pretty impressive. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to who's going to be in the money. I have no idea who's going to be in the money. I have a feeling that Blanks. So Missing No, I think for sure will be in the money, but I don't know if it's enough points to overtake Blanks. It really comes down to the points, and I don't know. Hazeblade is adding it all up right now if you're curious. And it shouldn't take very more than a couple of minutes to just add those points up, get the leaderboards set up, and see who the winner of the tournament is. It's been a long 3 days, but also a short 3 days. It's passed by really fast. And I just want to say a thank you to everyone who's been watching. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for making this event as hype as it has been. Also, big shout outs. Can we get some claps in the chat for Hazeblade? Hazeblade has been working on this event for a long time, like weeks and weeks of hard work, sleepless nights, all to put this awesome event together, and I'm so glad I could be a part of it. Thank you, Hazeblade, for asking me to host. I hope I did okay. I mean, this is like one of my first time of doing this type of event, so I hope I didn't bore you too much, but yeah, big claps. Thanks for the claps for Hazeblade. Honestly, thank you so much, Haze, for putting this together, bringing the runners together, and making speedrunning more of an esport, because I think it's totally an esport. But yeah, what a great couple of days. I'm trying to think of some of my favorite moments. Honestly, there was some crazy stuff that happened during the bingo. Also, later on, after, I'm not sure if it will be after or before we announce the winners, but there is also a G Fuel play of the day. We're going to be taking 2 clips from today. And chat, you get to vote on who you think is your favorite clip. And the winner of the the G Fuel clip of the day will, we'll go home with a small G Fuel care package. So it's up to you, chat, to vote on who you think has the better clip, and that will be shortly. I'm not sure if it'll be before or after we learn who won this competition, but really looking forward to it. I don't know who's gonna win. I feel like all the runners are sitting behind the scenes right now, just like, oh, what's gonna happen? Am I in the money? Am I out of the money? We did get another contribution. I missed that one a bit earlier, but thank you for the $10 contribution towards the prize pool from Max Von Bullig. Thank you so much. And 10 for Jomble Bergens feels, man, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, Joy Dern, like, I wish they could finish the run. That really sucked. Like, I'm actually feeling terrible for Joy Dern because I know they put so much effort into it, and just the thing with speedrunning, the smallest little mistake can just ruin your entire run. Like, I run Resident Evil 2 Remake, and, like, you miss one headshot on a zombie, your run's dead. Like, you just spent 45 minutes on a run and it's gone. Let alone, this run's like 2 hours long, so yeah. But our prize pool is currently up to $1,445. Thank you so much for everyone who's contributed so far. And the event is coming to an end soon, so feel free to bolster that prize pool. Do !prize in the chat, and it looks like Hazeblade is back. Oh, muted Haze?
That's twice today that I've done that now. Oh, God.
You're on a roll!
And I'm so excited to. I just get so far ahead of myself. It's just okay. Listen, all right? But no, so yeah, I've been hard at work behind the scenes crunching the numbers, and I do have the leaderboards for you, and we also have the G Fuel play of the day at the ready as well. And we will do the G Fuel play of the day first before we get into the leaderboards. And boy, do we have some incredible plays that came out of today. And so I want to pan over to that very quickly as we get into this. And so I think I probably spoiled these myself when I was like saying, hey, my mods are probably going to clip this, but I honestly couldn't think of 2 more iconic moments today to go into the play of the day.
One of them is.
And the first one comes from Missing No in this absolutely cracked Verdugo fight, where absolutely everything possibly that could have went wrong, and what we find is that somehow Missing is able to clutch up and get this kill without a reset. And this is, I think, honestly, really what defined Missing No as like just the overall level of play that we saw throughout the entirety of today. And this kind of sums it up in one clip, which I think is why it is a amazing clip of the day. So here we go. We have, this is after everything has already went wrong. He's going in to Verdugo. He's trying to hit the switch, but ends up getting smacked. He goes for the heal, hits the button, and then parries him midair and freezes him all at once, and the kill shot. It all happens back to back to back with an absolutely insane play here by Missing No. I can't, like, we were watching this unfold and our minds were just like exploding with just like everything that happened right here all at once. Like, I couldn't believe how crazy this play was, because we were both predicting that he was possibly going to have to reset here because with making a save beforehand and the fact that he didn't get the kill earlier, to be able to squeeze through, get the parry midair, and then have enough damage to kill him while he's frozen. That's just like, I can't even imagine the feelings that are going through Missing's mind as this is all happening at once. Like, just absolutely, like, what an insane play, I have to just say. Our second clip comes to you guys from Blanks, which happens towards the end of his run here as we go into the war room, which again, this is a section that can get toxic really quickly. And this is not dissimilar to what we saw out of Blanks yesterday, just like the calm, collected, just like knowing that, you know, everything is on the line and just being able to deliver. Watch this. So he gets grabbed and you can tell, like, you know, nothing is set in stone here yet, but he's able to throw the flash, get the duck, and squeeze out of there before anybody knew what happened. And this is... I know that Blanks made this look incredibly easy with what happened here, but just watch it again and just try to understand how easily this could have went wrong. He's standing in the fire. He gets grabbed in the fire, so he's taking damage over time. And then on top of that, like, normally it's really hard to like go into your inventory and heal when all this is happening because of the stun frames and everything. He's able to get the heal right there, like perfectly timed, in tandem with the grenade toss and the crouch, getting out of the fire to where he could proceed. Like, had that been timed any differently, this would have been a run ender for Blanks. He would have gone back to the beginning of the chapter and it would have been over just that fast. But I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. What do you guys think? Is it between Blanks and Missing No? Mods, let's get 3 minutes on the clock, and we're gonna have you guys in the chat vote on who you think the winner of the G Fuel play of the day should be. Both of these clips are absolutely insane. Just the level of finesse required to execute both of these things that we just saw. And you know, ultimately, I think that no matter who wins, it goes without saying that this clip of this G Fuel play of the day was probably the most high stakes out of all 3 days. And I think we couldn't have picked a better day to have you know, such high stakes and such incredible clips made for today.
Yeah, those were both pretty chaotic. Both could have died, and I'm honestly, like, Blanks, that was a really good dodge. I think it just shows how fast their reflexes are. Like, they don't, I feel like they don't even think about it, they just hit it. Like, Missing No's not thinking, okay, I'm gonna parry this guy as he jumps him. He just hits the space. And then same with Blanks, he just kind of like just ducks. Like, they know the enemy pattern so well that it's easy for them to kind of tell what enemies are doing and stuff, but still doesn't make it easy. Really doesn't make it easy.
Yeah, certainly not. And I think that, you know, just looking holistically at these last 3 days, just has been absolutely just mind-blowing back-to-back opportunities for people to pull ahead, and then like the mishaps that happen when people die, like, has really made it to where it was kind of weird. We were predicting, we kind of knew that Missing had it in the bag today, but then that death in chapter 15 like kept us on the edge of our seats all the way up there until the end. It's just it's such a shame that we couldn't see Jordan finish that run, because it was such a good run all the way up until Sadler, and it just all fell apart with that mistake with the nade throw, and yeah, just couldn't recover from that.
Yeah, I think Jordan might have been able to, I might be wrong, but might have been able to take second. Definitely third, I think, but would have been able to take second if they were able to finish it off. But as I said before, the smallest little mistakes will affect your entire run. You press one button at the wrong time, your entire run is dead, and that's just the way speedrunning works. And marathon runs are way more unforgiving as well, because there's not much you can do. You can't just reset and go again. Like, you got to truck on. And unfortunately, he used that heavy nade, and it did cost him. But yeah, it all does ultimately come down to the leaderboards at the end. I don't know who's in the money, I don't know who's out of the money, and I'm really excited to see the results.
And the results are going to be coming in soon. We are wrapping up this G Fuel play of the day, guys. Get your votes in. We have a 50 vote spread between Missing and Blanks, guys. Spam the heck out of those votes. You can use channel points to vote extra time. So I want to get you guys absolutely fired up for who's going to win this play here. So guys, get those votes in. There's just a couple of seconds left on the clock here to get those votes in, and once that concludes, we are right around the corner, you guys, from announcing our champions for the 3 days of competition. It's come in. We have Blanks as our winner for the G Fuel play of the day. Congratulations. What an incredible play there by Blanks. Just the more or less frame perfect timing there going into the the dodge there with the fire, with such the high stakes that it was to get him out of there for risk of potentially losing an entire chapter's worth of progress. Definitely worthy of the nomination for the G Fuel Play of the Day, and most certainly worthy of the win as well. We'll watch it one more time here so you guys can see it again in case you missed it. We have blanks here coming up into the end here of the lever situation and getting grabbed in the fire at critical HP here, getting out and getting the dodge hand in hand with the flash grenade and getting out of there before anybody knew what happened. What an incredible play there by blanks, and definitely congratulations. Enjoy that G Fuel package and all the good stuff headed your way there. But guys, it's time. 3 days of competition, you guys. $1,445. It's time to announce your guys as champions, and it couldn't have been closer on the final numbers, you guys. But coming in first place, we have Missing No with 1,598 points and only 11 points behind Blanks at second place with 1,587. Fregelhausen taking third place at 1475. Unfortunately, Joydern not able to stay in the money after that unfortunate and fatal error there with throwing that heavy grenade. And you know, Shark really played well these last 2 days, but unfortunately what really made the difference for Shark was not getting those bingos in day one. And had Shark filled out that bingo card, we could have been looking at an entirely different leaderboard here, folks. You know, Shark didn't get a single bingo on day one, and so if we consider that maybe if he would have picked up about 400 points, we would have seen Shark winning this thing by over 100 points. And so I think it goes without saying, guys, like that bingo card was so imperative to really set the tone for all 3 days of competition. And so, you know, looking at this leaderboard, though, every single day, we have seen a ton of movement. You know, we set the boards up on the first day and we had a pretty good spread, and then we saw almost a full reversal on day two. And even with Missing having to concede because of the tech issues, still coming back and winning the whole tournament on day three with an absolutely insane no merchant run. I'm speechless.
Yeah, congratulations to Missing. No, like, I was not sure if they'd be able to recover after that day two unfortunate power outage, but today they played phenomenally, and I think they definitely deserve that first place. Blanks coming in second. Really strong performance all around, to be honest. All 3 days had a really, really strong performance. Same with everyone, to be honest, and it's just unfortunate Joydern could just... Oh, it could have been so different if so many, like, just tiny things changed the results. But overall, good job to all of the runners. They did an amazing job. I don't think anyone, like, did a terrible job. Everyone did awesome, and congratulations for Missing No for the win.
Yeah, congratulations to all of the runners. I mean, it was already difficult enough to qualify for this tournament. Out of all of the different challenges, we only had 6 qualifiers, and unfortunately we had one person drop. So 5 runners out of the entire community of gamers that were potentially available to participate in this tournament. So the demonstration of skill coming out of these runners is absolutely unprecedented here. We have some amazing talent in this community, and I could not be happier to be a part of it. And I want to thank everyone that submitted the runs to be considered for this tournament. I know a lot of work went into setting those things up, so thank you guys for being a part of that. I want to give a huge shout out to Sneevil for being just an absolutely insane host. Like, well, you did such a good job.
Aw, thank you, Haze. Also, thank you. Big shout outs to Hazeblade for organizing the entire event, getting all the runners set up. Just honestly, he's been doing so much behind the scenes work. He's like hosting, producing, graphic designing. Like, thank you to Haze for putting on this awesome event. I look forward to seeing what events you put on in the future. And if you want me involved, you know, I'm always available.
We'll definitely be working together again in the future. I can tell you that much. But yeah, guys, There you have it. Our first Hazeblade Invitational is in the books. Thank you, everyone that has been a part of this event. I know I was kind of like in host mode, and I didn't get to interact with chat as much as I would have liked to. You guys know that I love interacting with chat during my normal streams, but I think we did a great job with the coverage. Minimal tech issues. I think we did a fantastic job there. But again, I want to give a huge shout out to everybody in chat that just kept the hype going over these 3 days of competition. I want to give a huge shout out to the runners for all of the prep work that they put in. A massive, massive thank you is in order to the staff that worked behind the scenes. Speedy-ish, Avenged Wolf. Thank you guys so much for the mod work behind the scenes and helping us get the G Fuel play of the day in order. I want to give a shout out to all of the submission assistants that were hired on behalf of the runners in the tournament for being involved and helping us get clips for bingo. I want to thank G Fuel for funding this event, and guys, I couldn't have been happier with how this turned out. I think with every roadblock that we encountered along the way, we were able to just roll right over and get through it, and I could not be more thrilled, and I cannot wait to bring you more events like this in the future. So that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you all so much. I do have one more thing, though. Again, I've talked about this the last couple of days. I am doing a big marathon for my birthday in August. Coming up here in just a few weeks here, and we're going to be driving HelloFresh subscriptions for these next few weeks to expand the marathon. So just so you guys know, if you type !HelloFresh in the chat, you'll be able to head over to that link and use the coupon code, which will get you 50% off and free shipping when you set up a subscription with HelloFresh. And when you do that, every 2 people that sign up for HelloFresh, we're going to add a game to the marathon, and we'll be pushing really hard for that getting into the month of August. But guys, that is going to do it for the Hazeblade Invitational. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you again, Sneevil, for being an incredibly awesome host. And I will see you all on the next stream, which will probably be tomorrow. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.